Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are just about to get started here. Thanks for your patience. We're going to allow everybody just to kind of get in here as I see people kind of getting into the waiting room. So we're going to let all our attendees try to show up here and give us just a couple of minutes, and then we'll be on to the races. All right, still getting some in, and we are letting you in if you're stuck in the lobby. And appreciate again you guys being here today. We're very excited to be here with you. We have a loaded session with valuable insights from our partners, carriers, and more. We want to make sure that all agents are ready for open enrollment and excited about what 2026 is going to bring for all of us. Today, we've brought together industry leaders that will help us navigate and understand some of the changing landscape in our industry and provide us with knowledge that you can take with you to grow your business in 2026 and beyond. American Online Benefits Group has been a leader in the industry since 2013 and will continue to provide its agents with the absolute best in service, value, and products. As we get closer to open enrollment, it's important that we remain steadfast for our customers and provide them with the guidance and products they need to protect their most important and valuable assets, themselves and their loved ones. As we look to move forward and grow, we must keep our eyes on what is most important, our clients. Each and every one of us has a personal responsibility to ensure that the information, products, and service we are providing is above reproach. We must be the example in our industry, and we rely on our agents to help us represent that example to the carriers and partners we work with every day. Remember, and for general inquiries and questions, onboarding statuses and invites, recruiting and releasing agents, direct deposit changes, and carrier and DUI complaints, you can always reach out to agent services at agents@aobgrp.com. That's again, agents@aobgrp.com. And for commission inquiries or questions and statement requests, please reach out directly to our commissions department at commissions@aobgrp.com. Again, that's commissions@aobgrp.com. Today's call will include market and policy updates as we currently know them, enrollment growth strategies to help us all maximize our production, the importance of retention and engagement, compliance, cross-selling opportunities, and tactics that can help make this open enrollment the best it can be. Now, before I pass the torch to Kenny West to get us started today, I want to make sure that we thank all of our speakers who are joining us. Mike Cardoso will be helping us through the best methods to use to help us renew as many of our customers as possible. Mark Campagrossi will be highlighting Elevance Health, its current products, and how some of the changes in the ACA affect your enrollments. William Merton with O'Neill Marketing will be taking us through some of the ACA and carrier updates we have available, and of course, using their system. Ari Evans with Oscar will be giving us insight into their product offerings this year and how to best position them in your presentations. David Steffen and Ryan Baker with Washington National will be showing us how to use supplemental products to help us maximize our sales. And Ross Baker from Health Sherpa will be helping us get ready for OEP. And we will close everything up with a roundtable to help us open up the discussion further before we end the call today. That's a lot to unpack in this short window of time that we have. So without further ado, please welcome our Senior Vice President of Operations, Kenny West.
Good morning, everyone. I know it's kind of tough whenever you're on webinars and you're all muted, but you will get a chance to give us some feedback here in a bit. First of all, thank you for working with AOBG. And I'd like to start out with introducing the team here at AOBG, which works tirelessly to make the processes as smooth as possible. First, heading up agent services is Sarah Butler, and the rest of her team is comprised of Sarah Donahue and Whit Bonner. By the way, Whit boarding automation that has been set up, and a great job there. Next, leading our agent and agency outreach, recruiting, training, all things ACA and ancillary products is Vince Klez. Then there's the ACA lifting, Mike Cardoso. And last but certainly not least, especially with a lot of the daily heavy lifting, is Michelle Henson. And by the way, anybody can be emailed just by putting their first name dot last name at aobgrp.com. My hat is off these amazing individuals. They work tirelessly every single day, to make things go as smoothly as possible. And feel free to reach out to them with any comments, suggestions, complaints. Before I hand over to Vince, I need to take a few moments to reiterate the performance of agent movement, specifically informing O'Neill and AOBG anytime an agent leaves or is added to your agency. This is critical for us to ensure that commissions are assigned to the correct agency, especially so with carriers right now, Ambetter and UHC, with more anticipated, and states such as Florida, North Carolina, and others not allowing the usage of NPN overrides. Note that Health Sherpa is not programmatically enforcing these carrier or state rules. This means it's up to you and your agents to not use the NPN override when submitting sales with these carriers or in those states. Obviously, we don't have any knowledge if you have an agent that comes on board on Health Sherpa. We do to an extent, but they've gone through the process, onboarding with us and O'Neill specifically. And if their NPN is used and they were assigned to another agency prior, but we and O'Neill aren't notified, it will, in many instances, cause some misalignment of commissions. It's on you to do that. And so got to have our little caveat here. Neither O'Neill Marketing or AOBG will be held responsible for failure to notify us of agent movements, nor will we do audits in the future, and we're just 3 months after the fact. It's just too much. It's also critically important, this is associated with that all agencies in your agencies are licensed in the state in which the prospects reside and are appointed with any carriers whose plans they discuss, not just enrollment in, whether the NPN override is used or not. We do suggest you move as much away from the NPN override as you can. It's just a great way to spread your risk if there's ever any CMS carrier issues or anything along that line. Before I pass the mic to Vince, I'd like to again thank each and every one of you for participating today, and thanks to the AOBG team. And over to you, Vince.
Thanks so much, Kenny. A lot of important information there. Definitely important. We must have all licensed agents licensed in the state that they're, of course, talking to their customers and appointed with those products. That's absolutely paramount. Up next, we're going to be hearing from Mike Cardoso. Mike's expert level knowledge of the ACA in our industry is impressive, as is his experience. He's owned agencies, run call centers, worked as a field agent, and sells direct. He is also instrumental in the development of our ACA program here at AOBG. Mike Cardoso, partner, friend, please take it away.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for showing up here today. So the biggest thing that's on everyone's mind, whether we're focusing on the changes that may or may not be happening or what's going on, is are we ready to renew all of our clients? So I'm going to try and make this as easy as we possibly can. So we're going to be talking about preparing for it, making sure that the data that you're working on is clean, how to actually go through it, and then after we've gone through our process, following up to make sure it's easy for next year and you collect more referrals. So in getting set up, you want to have a couple things in order to go through this. You want to have your CRM. Most of you has told us that you use TLD as your CRM, so that's why it's the example, but any CRM will do. Want to make sure, obviously, you have some sort of calendar outreach program. I prefer Calendly because the customer can see your calendar right then and there without having to go any back and forth of, well, I'm available when you are, and so on and so forth. And more importantly, on the paid version of Calendly, you can set up a round robin so your customers aren't bottlenecked to one person's calendar, but to your entire team's calendars, so they can grab times that work for them and within your agency. And then you want to have some sort of drip campaign out there where you put your customers, once you have that list, into these different silos. And as long as they're in the different stages of this silo, they'll keep getting messages reminding them to take action. And once they've taken that first action, you can move them to the second tier of that campaign. They'll get a different type of email or text or messaging or voicemails or however you want to program it. MailChimp is just a common option. Your CRM may have this, but these are just the things we're going to need to play with it. And then Health Sherpa has been instrumental to not just helping us run our agencies and have clean data, but listening to the challenges we have and giving us solutions. So you're going to want to have something to collect the customer's information as you're reaching out to them. And they built a new tool for us while we're doing our renewals to do just that. And I'm going to show you a little bit today. But really, any lead form will work. It's just really easy when you have the one that's already in your sales platform to capture that data. So when you're collecting all of your clients' data, once we start realizing, okay, these are the people we're going to renew, you want to start putting them into 5 different categories. So that means you need to put that field in your CRM or your spreadsheet or whatever it is you're doing to reach out to your customers to make sure that you're not only flagging them in one of these renewal states, but as you're moving them through the process, everyone within your company who is making any contact with the clients also has the ability to update and progress them through these channels. So on the first category, this is those who we haven't reached out to them at all yet. Then we have those where we've reached out to them, but they haven't responded. And in your drip campaign, you want to have a different type of messaging for the people that you're in that category. Then you have those who have scheduled an appointment, but you haven't spoken to them yet. They're going to get a different set of messages. Then there's those who you already got on the phone with. Now, if you've had a conversation with me in the past couple years, you know that I firmly believe that you start working on your renewals in August. So if you have already spoken to your customers, or even for the rest of this month, as you are talking to them, you still can go through that eligibility notice. Window shopping isn't going to be available this year except for in maybe Georgia, right? But you can still go through your eligibility notice, which will take 15 or 20 minutes off your plate that you don't have to spend in open enrollment. And then you have the list of clients that you did go through the renewal, offered their plan, they selected it, everything is all set. And those you put into the final stage of this campaign, where you want to constantly nurture them and have some sort of outreach at a minimum 7 times a year. But if you can get a more familiar cadence, that would be even better. So they're constantly reminded that you're their agency. They're going to recognize your emails or maybe text message if you're sending those out to them. And you're constantly reminding them if they have any questions or concerns, they can reach out to you, and you are their insurance agency, not just the people that spoke to them, gave them their insurance, and disappeared. So when we're actually going through this, using Health Sherpa, in the Clients tab, they added a new button, which is your bulk email. When you click on that bulk email, I guess the other one won't zoom in here. But when you click on that bulk email, you have the option to either send them the intake form or just a renewal reminder, right? Health Sherpa is going to send those emails from whichever email address you have in your settings, which is why you want to make sure that you're only using your company emails in Health Sherpa. With that intake form, it's going to ask them a lot of the questions that you're going to need in order to update their eligibility notice or their application. And what's very convenient as well, so you don't have to have multiple screens up at the same time, when you're actually in the eligibility notice for that customer, you'll see another button at the top right of your screen where you can view all the data that was in that intake form to help you go through that renewal even faster. So it's just make things a little bit easier. You don't have to ask them questions again that they already asked. Just makes it a more pleasant experience for your client. Now, when you get those customers and you have them in your place, on the Clients tab as well, towards the top, you're going to see the Client Follow-ups and Renewal tabs. Within these tabs, it'll then give you the list of all of your customers and whichever status they're in. And what's very helpful about this is it's real-time statuses. So you can see these are your customers that need to update something on their eligibility notice, or these are the customers that you haven't spoken to them since 2024, or what's going on. So you have the status. You can even download and export every single one of those customers that are on this renewal list for 2025, upload them back into your CRM or drip campaign to reach out to them so you have that contact information there. Make it very easy so you have the clean data and you can start working on it, right? Now, as far as the messages that you're sending out to them, based on the different status, is just a modern progression of, hey, we're just trying to reach out to you. There are a lot of changes happening this year that if we don't speak, your insurance is likely not going to work the way that you want it to. So let's talk now. And then that call to action would be a link to your Calendly or whatever your calendar is, so the clients can click on it right in that email and get on your appointment, or even call and reach out to you if you have that availability for it, right? Then you just set it, you play with it. I'd recommend testing some of these on yourself so you see what it actually looks like. I would certainly recommend making a client for yourself in Health Sherpa and sending yourself that intake form so you can see what it looks like. And then you're messaging to the clients, you can reference what it looks like, include some pictures, things like that. Now you start organizing your data into those 5 different categories and know how we're going to work on it and what's going from there. So when we're following up with the customers after you've gone through the different stages of the renewal, you want to make sure that you prioritize your clients. There's a tool that I've been sharing with all of you, and if you want me to send it again, please send a message after this and I'll get it to you, where we allow you to combine all of your as-earned commission statements. And when you have those statements combined, you can see these are your customers that have been paying you. The customers that you're receiving commissions on should be your highest priority, so I would focus on them first. And then the clients that you're no longer receiving commissions on, well, now's the time to get them back. So it's an easy touch for that. So you want to test, is your drip campaign actually penetrating your clients and going through as many as you want to be contacted? Are you collecting and acting on their client's feedback? Meaning, I like to ask them, when you first reach out to us, when you decided to become one of our clients, what made you decide to work with us? Write that down and make sure you're still doing that thing that originally attracted clients. If there's anything you're not doing that they would like, ask them. If there's something that they're having a challenge with, ask them so you can improve those things. With the plan that they were on last year, did they have any challenges with it? Ask them and write that down. You can see if there's a pattern that maybe this, Ambetter in Ohio, the network was terrible, so you're going to stop moving people there. Great, you're getting that feedback as you're asking. And then, is the CRM being updated with their progress so you're not doing double work when you have only so much time to go through? But probably most importantly is at the end of every day, we need to track how many clients are we receiving commissions on. That's your book of business. How many customers did you renew at the end of November 1? If we keep this pace through January 15, will we be able to renew 50% of our clients, 20% of our clients, 90% of our clients? You got to track the pace that you're working on and maybe hire more staff, train more, get more people focusing on it, or improve whatever you're doing to know if you got to pick up the pace, or if you're on track, great, make sure you don't slow down. But you constantly want to check your pacing at the end of every day to see if you're making enough progress to get through it all, and are you focusing on the right clients to get that right action. So I just wanted to make sure you had all that. Any questions you have, please reach out, let us know. We are always available to answer your questions, help you get through it. Now's the time. If you're working, we're working.
That's right, Mike. We are working. When you're working, it's open enrollment. It's the funnest part of our season. We absolutely love this time of year. And thanks so much, Mike, for all of that. Execution is easier when you have a plan, straight up. Thanks for giving our agents a roadmap that they can use to get as many renewals done this year as possible. Disruption creates opportunities. With what we know is in front of us, premiums, deductibles, and max out-of-pockets are all increasing. Plan designs this year could leave some gaps in coverage, or at bare minimum, increase the out-of-pocket expense for what would have been covered last year. Your customers should know that you can provide them with more than just an enrollment into their health insurance, but that you have access to life, health, dental, vision, accident, critical illness, and other indemnity products that will save them thousands of dollars each and every year. We must fill these needs with plans that protect these gaps. Having access to plans that help offset those expenses can help you give your customers more protection from high out-of-pocket cost and improve your retention overall. You just have to offer it. We have to get back to being salespeople again. We must provide a personalized service that matches the needs of the customer and the landscape of our industry. For agencies that provide this level of service and listen to the needs of their customers throughout the year, you will build a business that will be sustained for years to come, not just seasonally. I know everyone's worried about being a seasonal business, but even if you have a customer that receives a full subsidy this year, do not fail to provide them with the absolute best in coverage and service because you assumed that they can't afford it or they don't want it before you even begin selling them. In our industry, there's a term that is used all of the time. It's a bit old. People thought it ran off, but it's really coming back, and that is insurance is sold, not bought. It's more true today than now than ever before. We must use our knowledge and help our customers see the benefit in having a health insurance package created by their professional licensed insurance agent. Let's stop being enrollment centers, and let's remember what it's like to sell insurance again. Now, AOBG has been providing our agents access to high-quality supplemental and ancillary plans for years. With products like the Out-of-Pocket Protector, sleek dental plans through MetLife, Washington National Active Care Hospital Assure, Urgent Care 360, Easy Term Life through GTL, Vision 360 Unified Life Indemnity products, and more, AOBG has our agents and your customers' best interest at heart. Another opportunity that's out there, and one I think Mike brought up, maybe he didn't, but one that I thought he did, was that you might want to talk to your marketing partners about people that are in the family glitch. This is a severely underserved market, and it is essentially untapped right now. The family glitch is where a spouse may have coverage through their employer, but to add their spouse would be too expensive, so they have to go without. These people have an income, sometimes two, and are in need of coverage and will be willing to look at you, their licensed insurance agent, to help guide them. Additionally, having a plan of action to continually reach out to your customers, like Mike had just mentioned, throughout the year, not just during open enrollment, is the key to continued ancillary and referral business. People do business with people they like. In order for the customer to like you, you must allow them to get to know you. If you don't have an ongoing marketing strategy to your current book, create one now. If you don't know where to start, schedule a call with us and we can help you begin. To sum it all up, be a licensed insurance agent, not an enroller. Take a moment to find other sales opportunities within each call. Don't miss out on extra income of dental, vision, accident, and critical illness for your agency. Personalize your service and focus your energy on long-term business strategies. Remember to always ask for referrals. Attack that family glitch. Get out there and go get those people. Sell AOBG products. I got to do that. You know me. You got to do that. Sell AOBG products and provide consistent outreach. Will provide consistent results. And of course, I can go on and on and on about this, but today is not about me. Today is about bringing together some experts in our field that are here to help us understand a little bit more of what we're dealing with today. So up next, excuse me, William Merton has been with O'Neill Marketing for almost 5 years and has been their sales and operations manager for 2 of those years. He oversees O'Neill Marketing agent support and consultant team and works alongside top agencies to build out their resources and provide agents the tools that they need to sell ACA and manage their books efficiently. William, are you with us, sir?
Absolutely. And let me see if I can take control. Yeah, it turns out I actually can take control of the presentation, so y'all can leave this up.
Awesome. Have fun.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Once again, my name is William Merton. Gave me a pretty good introduction, so I won't retread on that. But just before I get started, want to give a big thank you to AOBG for being one of our best and most consistent partners here over the last God knows how many years at this point, and for letting us come and talk to you all a little bit. Just want to go over a few things here, namely just some of the bigger market updates. You're probably going to hear about some of these things a few times today, but want to take the opportunity just to really drill in on those, and then just talk a little bit about O'Neill Marketing System, our platform, and how we think that's going to help you all as we navigate through this open enrollment period. So to get started, the first and the biggest thing that I'll be telling to everybody who asked is to use your O'Neill Marketing Agent Portal. If you're with AOBG, all your contracts are going to be through O'Neill Marketing, so you should be able to see everything that you need right inside our agent portal, and that's agents.o'neillmarketing.net. If you've already been onboarded with us, you should have an agent portal account right there for you, so you can log in. If you don't know your password, you can always reset it. And of course, if you have any issues, you're always more than welcome to reach out to our support team as well. But the biggest things that you can do inside of your O'Neill Marketing Agent Portal, namely, and this is going to be the biggest thing, especially this year with NPN overrides going away, it's going to be to check all of your active and pending appointments. You can do that right in the Carrier Appointments tab on our agent portal. The image there is a little bit small, but once you log in, you'll see it right there. It's fourth or fifth from the top, depending on how the layout is for you. And if you click in there, you'll be able to see a grid. Everything that has a blue state with it, that's going to be a confirmed appointment. We already have that locked in for you, so you're all set unless you need to add any other states. And if you see anything in there that's got like a yellow gold color, that's going to mean that it's actually still pending. So you'll want to click in there, see what's needed to finish that up, and make sure that you get that over the finish line as soon as possible. And then, of course, too, if you're seeing anything there that you're missing, maybe you forgot to add a UHC Oscar appointment or something like that, or you need to throw an extra state in there because you got a new license, you can go ahead and just request them right there. You just click on it, go to the sidebar, click on the states that you need. You'll send that out to our contracting team, and they'll get the ball rolling on everything. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you can click on any pending appointments, and there will be some notes on the side that'll say what's needed from you. Maybe it's something like, we need your authorization for some fees, or maybe we need you to fill out a form or an FFM certification. All the carrier contracting, as I'm sure you all know, is very different. There's some overlap, but there's a lot of different quirks for each. So our team tries to smooth that all out and help you navigate that as easy as possible. And we're trying to put as much of that info in the portal as you can. So I'd highly recommend you go in there, check that out, and make sure that you are very, very familiar with all the appointments that you have and do not have as we go into this open enrollment. And then if you're an agency admin too, you're the principal or you have admin access to your agency, you can actually pull appointment reports for your entire agency from the agency management section. I'll do a little bit more on that in just a few slides, but I wanted to shout that out too, because if you're there, you're able to see for all your downlines whether or not they're appointed. And so you can actually check on this on their behalf and make sure that everybody is well set up as we move into open enrollment. And just the biggest reminder too, that writing business under non-appointed carriers is going to mean no commissions. This is becoming even more important every single day now that a lot of states and a lot of carriers don't allow NPN overrides. We are quickly moving into a world where the NPN override is not really going to be that usable. So you're going to want to make sure that you are set up for everything possible to make sure that you're going to be able to knock it out when you need to. And the last thing I'll say here, of course, is if you have any questions about pending appointments or anything contracting related at all, if you see anything there that you're confused about, do not hesitate. Go ahead, shoot an email to contracting@o'neillmarketing.net as soon as you can. They are constantly monitoring that, and they will get back to you very quickly, and they'll be able to help you out and let you know what's needed to move forward with any of your appointments. And I also wanted to shout out just some new features that are on our portal as well that we introduced just a little while ago that I think will be very helpful, especially as we move into open enrollment. So they're all going to be under the customers tab on the portal. So you'll see the customers tab. And then when you click on that, there's going to be a drop down with 2 sub tabs underneath it. The first of those tabs is going to be the submissions tab. And what we've done for this is we are pulling Health Sherpa data every single day as often as we can, and we are putting it into our system. Just so that you can have it there, you have an easy consolidated view where you can see it all. Obviously, if you have your Health Sherpa set up with agencies and everything correctly in Health Sherpa, a lot of this you might already be able to see. But the real benefit of this too is we are going through every single Health Sherpa submission that we have in the data, and we are matching it to your appointments. And we're going to flag anything that was not appointed. So if you wrote a policy and we didn't have an appointment for you at that time, it's going to get flagged and you're going to be able to see it right there. Same if you're an agency admin, you can filter the status to the not appointed submissions, and you can look and you can see, hey, looks like John's writing a bunch of, this carrier in this state and he doesn't have that appointment. I need to talk to him, make sure he either gets that or that, we're sending it to another agent who does have that appointment. Then the last nice thing of the submissions tab too is that it's going to match these policies whenever we can to book of business information. We're growing out the book of business data too, which I'll get to in a second. But that's the other really nice thing about this as well as we move towards the end of open enrollment is we're trying to go through all of those submissions to make sure that we can find a matching policy in the book of business to maybe help give you a heads up if there's anything that maybe dropped off or didn't get sent into the book or is not effectuated or anything like that. So I'd highly recommend that you would use that tab. The one caveat here, though, of course, is that you're going to have to make sure that your Health Sherpa is in some way linked with O'Neill Marketing. So for most of you all, what that's probably going to mean is that you're still going to link to your direct upline agency, and you'll just want to make sure that they are linked to either O'Neill Marketing or to AOBG, and AOBG will be linked with us. As long as we've got some chain there, all your data is going to be in here. But if you open up that submissions tab and you're not seeing any of the enrollment data you had, check on that. 9 times out of 10, that's going to be the issue, is that your account isn't linked to us. And if it's linked to your upline, just check with them and make sure that they are linked with someone who is in turn linked with O'Neill. If that's all set, then you should have a lot of information there. And then the second tab here that I wanted to point out too is our book of business tab. This one's a bit more straightforward. We're pulling book of business data from every carrier that we can, as often as we can, and we're adding it into there so that you can pull consolidated book of business reports for your top carriers. We're working on standardizing all the policy statuses so that you can see pretty easily what's active, inactive, what's maybe at risk due to premiums or something like that, or maybe things that are, not yet effectuated. Try to simplify all that as much as possible. And then we're adding in some info about payment and then a bunch of other info. Pretty much we want to make it so that anything that you can get from the carrier portal as much as possible, you can get from our portal as well. So you can export the book of business for even more insights. And the same thing too, if you've got 20 downline agents writing under their own NPN, we want to do this so that you have a consolidated access to all their book of businesses without having to get them to download a million different files and consolidate them on your own. So highly, highly recommend that you check out these new features. They're pretty new, so there's definitely going to be more developments to come. We're working on adding more carriers to the book of business, making everything a little bit quicker, a little bit sleeker, but it is a really, really useful tool that I would highly recommend that you start checking out. And then to circle back around, I mentioned these agency admin tools earlier. These are also very nice. You can do this all right from the agency management tab in your portal. Again, that's only going to be available if you're the principal or the admin of your agency. If you think you should, talk to your principal and have them reach out to our team just to confirm it, and we'll turn that feature on for you. But if you go to that agency management dashboard, you'll be able to see exports. They're up there in the top right. You can kind of see it in that picture, a little bit small though, but you'll be able to export reports. We have a report for completed and confirmed appointments. Well, that'll just show for you and all your downline agents everything that is good to go from our carrier data. And then we also have added another appointment report for your pending appointments, and that'll show you what is still pending. It's not yet confirmed. And it's also going to show you what, if anything, is needed from the agent to complete that appointment. So I'd highly recommend, especially at this point, go ahead, pull that, check in on it. If there's anything that's just waiting on a new document or something else to get it over the finish line, try to knock that out as soon as you can, because that'll definitely help get you set up for open enrollment. Some of them might just be, processing. Sometimes these things take a little bit. But I would highly recommend you check that out just to make sure there's nothing on your end that you're missing. And again, not to be a broken record, but if you have any issues with the contracting stuff or you see anything that you're confused about, shoot an email to contracting@o'neillmarketing.net as soon as you can so that we can check in on that too. And then the last thing I'll mention about this too is if you see, again, anybody in your downline, you realize that, shoot, they haven't requested this appointment yet. Of course, you can tell them to log into their own portal and do it if they're willing and able. But another thing you can do from the agency management dashboard is you can enter the downline agent's accounts from that dashboard and submit the appointments on their request. So if you look again in that image, you can kind of see it. You'll have a list of all your agents. And then on the left-hand side, there's going to be a little button that says view. If you click that, it'll essentially back end you into your downline agent's account so that you can see and do everything as if you were logged into their account directly without having to actually log into it specifically. So you can go to their appointments. You could request new ones if you want. You can check on the status of their in-progress contracting, everything else. So highly recommend, if you're an admin, utilize those tools and make sure that everybody in your downline is going to be set up for open enrollment. Then last thing on contracting as well, you'll want to make sure that you get all of your appointments in place prior to OEP. This is going to be super important. If you're missing appointments, request them now. The closer we get to November 1st, the longer it will take to get appointed. Some things that, maybe in May would have taken 2 weeks, may take 3, 4 plus now. So if you are missing anything, you need to know about it as soon as possible, and you need to get that appointment request in immediately. Otherwise, you do risk not being set up on November 1st. And then the other thing I want to mention too, just on the contracting side, is transfer blackouts. So a lot of carriers are already in these blackout periods for transfers, and they're not going to allow you to transfer anything else at this point. The big ones that are already blacked out are going to be Ambetter, Oscar, Molina, UHC, CareSource, and Christus. All blacked out, no more transfers. AmeriHealth, Caritas, and Health First, they close on November 1st. So just keep that in mind. And remember, if you've got an Oscar appointment, a Molina appointment, something, and it's under a different upline, you're not going to be able to move it right now. And you're going to need to take that into account as you move into open enrollment. Because if it's through another upline or a different FMO, that will affect your commissions. They're not going to come through O'Neill Marketing, and you're going to have to take that into account. And then just a reminder too, one final time, if you're not seeing an appointment on your O'Neill Marketing agent portal, assume that you are not contracted to sell that carrier, or at least not contracted to sell it through O'Neill Marketing. We get downline reports from these carriers every single day. We're uploading that into our system. So the data in our agent portal should be very up to date and accurate with what we're receiving from the carriers. So if you're not seeing anything there, make sure that you're taking that into account, get it started, reach out to our contracting team, whatever you need to do to get the ball rolling so that hopefully we can get you set up by November 1st. And whenever you're in doubt, if you're about to do an enrollment, you're not sure, you can't remember if you got it, check your portal. Whenever you have a question about it, jump into the portal, check it there. If it's not there, that'll be your answer. The next, I want to move into just some OEP updates here as we move in here. The first thing here is just going to be some updates regarding carriers. So I won't get into all the entrances and exits because there's a lot of them there, but Molina exiting Michigan and Wisconsin, they're having some adjustments in some states, but the big thing for Molina too is, if you have not seen, they are no longer allowing NPN overrides. The same is going to apply for Ambetter and for UHC. And that's important to remember because, as I'm sure you're all aware, there are also some states who have been banning the NPN override usage within their state as well. But for Molina and Ambetter and UHC, it doesn't matter if the state has banned it or not. you will not be allowed to do it. So for, let's say, a state like Florida, doesn't matter who you write in Florida, no NPN override at all, doesn't matter what the carrier is. But let's say, we move to a state like Ohio or something like that. You could maybe write some other carriers using the NPN override, but you're writing Ambetter in Ohio or UHC or Molina, whatever it is in Ohio, those carriers, you won't be able to use the NPN override. So just really make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. And again, these slides are all going to go out, so you'll be able to see some of these more nitty-gritty expansions and contractions there as well. Same thing with UHC. A lot of things changing there. I will not dig into them that much right now because hopefully in the next few weeks, once we get all the information in, we're going to be releasing our ACA handbook. We do this every year right before open enrollment, where we're just going to go over key carrier updates, service area changes, some compliance reminders, and other tips and everything that we've gotten from the carriers. So keep your eye out from that. We're going to have a consolidated list of all those area changes and stuff coming out in just a little bit. And again, just the last reminder as well, since it's up top on this slide, NPN overrides. The landscape for NPN overrides is changing. It has changed a whole lot since last year. So make sure that you commit everything up top there to memory. The states that don't allow it: Florida, Iowa, Michigan, New Hampshire, North Carolina, South Dakota, Wisconsin. If you're selling in those states, make sure everybody who's going to sell there is locked in for appointments, because they're going to have to write under their own NPN. And then make sure everybody is set up as much as possible for Molina, United Healthcare, and Ambetter Health. If not, you might find yourself in a tricky situation if you need to write clients there and you don't have the right appointments. And moving on, another big update that I wanted to mention to everybody too, since from what I see, it hasn't gotten, unfortunately, a lot of attention. And that's that Illinois is transferring to a state-based exchange for this open enrollment. So it is happening this year, very, very soon. And I wanted to put it in here because I hadn't really seen a lot of outreach. Frankly, I hadn't really seen that much from Illinois either. They were kind of quiet on it this year. But I just wanted to point that out. If you're selling in Illinois, remember that all the Illinois enrollments are going to have to be done through the state-based exchange starting November 1st. They are not going the Georgia Access route where you can do it through Health Sherpa. So if you're selling there, it's going to be like every other state-based exchange. You have to use their platform. And the same thing too, even if you're not selling there and you just want your FFM clients to roll over, you're still going to need to make sure that you're contracted and certified and everything for the Illinois state-based exchange. Otherwise, those clients are just going to disappear. So if you've not completed your certification, get started on that as soon as possible. I have one caveat about that link. Since we made this slide last week, Illinois went in and actually changed the link. So the link right there, it's no longer getcoveredillinois.gov/brokers. It's now /get-brokers. I'll see if we can send out another link. For whatever reason, they changed it sometime between Thursday of last week and today. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions, you can reach out to O'Neill. We'll get you the correct link. But I just want to mention that because Illinois is recommending that agents complete that certification by the 17th, which is tomorrow, in order to be set up for open enrollment. So if you got Illinois clients and you haven't done that already, I would get that done as soon as humanly possible. If you've done other SBE certifications, it's nothing crazy. It's pretty par for the course. But again, if you don't get it done in time, could have some consequences. And once you're set up too, they're recommending as well that everybody make sure that you have a copy of your Illinois book of business to make sure that everything migrates over to Get Covered Illinois. And that's going to be important because last I talked to them last week, they told me that Get Covered Illinois agent portals are not going to be available until the end of October or most likely November 1st. So that means you're not really going to have a whole lot of turnover time there. So in the meantime, go ahead and export your Illinois book of business and save a copy of that so that once you get into their system, you can make sure that all your clients are migrated over to the state-based exchange. Of course, the easiest place we think to get that business data is going to be just through our agent portal in the book of business tab that I mentioned a few slides back. But you can also, of course, hop into all of your individual carrier portals and pull the reports there. Either way, my biggest message here, if you need Illinois, get certified pretty much today if you haven't already, and make sure you've got a copy of your Illinois book just to make sure that everything is moving over properly. And now here's the big topic. I know this has been the top of the mind for everybody, certainly O'Neill Marketing, and that's going to be compliance. If you haven't really noticed so far, take my word for it. Compliance is the name of the game now. It is more important than ever that you are being as compliant and following every single rule that CMS and the carriers have laid down. So namely, you're going to want to make sure that you have both the consumer's consent to access their personal information and their eligibility review for every single application, every single one. Don't let any of them slip, because trust me, you never know. It will come back to bite you. You can gather these. It can be a recorded phone call, an electronic document, DocuSign. They don't mandate what method you have to gather it, but you do have to gather it, and you do have to save the record somewhere. You can easily access them for up to 10 years. I mentioned that because if somebody, a carrier, CMS, needs a document, and it's from 4 or 5 years ago, you won't be able to get away with the excuse of, oh, it was a long time ago, I don't have that. We didn't really save that recorded phone call. That's not going to fly. You have to save them for 10 years. If they're requested, you're going to have to garnish the proof that you got consent and that you reviewed the eligibility. My last reminder on this too is call recordings are not currently mandatory, so you don't have to record your calls. That being said, it is very, very highly recommended that you are recording all of your calls, even if you're getting consent via DocuSign or some other way. Definitely still have those call recordings and have them saved. You never know when you might need to prove that you said something or didn't say something. And if you have no way to back up what you say happened during this conversation, you might find yourself in a tough spot. So again, not required, but highly recommended. And I've added some other resources here too. You got the model consent form from CMS, CMS's compliance FAQs, which they have really beefed up over the last few months. So highly recommend you check those out. A lot of questions that you'll have are probably already answered there. And then Health Sherpa has a really fantastic managing consent FAQ article that I've included there as well. But now, again, on the consent side, I do really want to dig in to just some of these other things as well, namely the consent and those eligibility reviews. So the consent side of things, the consent needs to be gathered before searching the marketplace or accessing their application. If you're halfway through the application and you're getting the consent then, or God forbid, you're getting your consent when you're getting the eligibility review right before you submit it, guess what? That's not going to fly. You need the consent before you gather any personal information, which does include searching them on the marketplace. If this is a client you've already worked with before and you think you might have consent on file, go ahead, go back and double check it. You got to make sure that it has not expired or it's not been revoked. This kind of gets a little bit into the weeds because it really depends on how your consent is spelled out. If you have consent that needs to be reviewed every year, then you might have to get a new one. Sometimes you'll have consent that doesn't have any end date and just requires them to revoke it, in which case if they haven't revoked it, it's probably still active. So just make sure to double check that and make sure you're very familiar with all the terms in your consent documentation. But I will say too, it's pretty quick, it's pretty easy. And if you're not sure, or if you're even a little bit uncertain, just go ahead and get a new consent. Again, trust me, it might take you an extra 2-5 minutes, but it will be very beneficial. You'll be glad you have it if it ever comes into question. So make sure you've got consent. If you already got it, double check that it's not revoked. And if there's any question about it, just go ahead and get a new consent. It's always worth it. And then that brings us though to the eligibility review rules. And so this is what you have to get right before you submit it to the marketplace. And this is essentially where the client attests that everything on the application is true to the best of their knowledge and that you read them all the attestations. So specifically per CMS, it's got to include the date that the information was reviewed, the name of the consumer or their representative, an explanation of the attestations at the end of the application, which is pretty much just shorthand for those 2 pages at the end of Health Sherpa where you have to click I agree. You got to read through those all verbatim to make sure they understand. And then of course the name of the agent, broker, web broker, etc. But the big thing though is, again, this needs to be documented for every single application. Even if you have consent, even if this is a client that you've submitted 5 apps for, over the last year, does not matter. Every single time you submit an application to the marketplace, you must have that eligibility review. If not, there is no way for them to know whether you just submitted this and made up a bunch of information for the client. So you got to get the client to sign that they're aware of what's on the application. Everything there is true, dated, stamped with the attestations and everything. You got to gather that after completing the application, but before you submit it to the marketplace. So you got to really get it at that one specific time. And then another FAQ that I didn't add here, but I always want to mention is for consent and eligibility review. CMS says you can collect those both on the same document, but since the consent needs to be gathered before the app and the eligibility review has to be gathered after the app, you can only get it on one document if you have 2 separate timestamps. If you have one consent and eligibility review, that might not fly because, again, they have no way of knowing when you gathered it. You can't gather the consent after you've done the app. And of course, you can't gather the eligibility review before you've done the app. So if you have 2 separate documents, perfect. Just make sure they're done at the right time. If you've got one document, you need to make sure that they're being signed by the client with 2 separate date stamps so that you can show that you've got those at the appropriate times. And then just to dig in a little bit more, just to some AOR change stuff. This is not necessarily new this year, so probably already familiar with it. But if you're not currently the AOR, you're going to get hit with that invalid action error, and you're going to need to either do the 3-way call with the marketplace or use that Health Sherpa resume link. Either way, no change from last year. You're just going to need to make sure you're taking care of that. And I always say, too, just to prioritize those renewals for anyone who needs a new AOR, just to make sure you've got time to knock them out. So if some agents left your agency and they need to switch them over, get a list of those clients, prioritize them, get them switched over, and make sure that you don't have any issues going into next year. And then the last thing that I will say on the compliance side too is just about these cases. I'm sure everybody here has seen a handful of those. There's been a huge uptick of these over the last year, but specifically more so over the last 4 to 6 months. So if you get any complaints from carriers, DOIs, CMS, whoever, respond with everything they request as soon as possible. Do not delay, because not replying or going over the deadline, it puts your appointments, your licenses, and your commissions at risk. I see it happen every single day where someone will respond 2 days after the deadline. And unfortunately, at that point, your case is substantiated and there's really nothing you can do about it. The last thing I'll note on those compliance cases too is just please keep an eye out for anything from compliance@o'neillmarketing.net. Our compliance team is monitoring everything that we can, and we're going to reach out if an escalated case is brought to our attention. So if you see anything from the compliance@o'neillmarketing.net email, take note of that. That probably means that the carrier has escalated it to our attention, and it will need your review as soon as possible. And moving on here, we're going to get into some of the CMS updates that are happening this year as well. Really just want to go over what's going to be changing this year and what's not changing. There's been a whole lot of action around this recently. I'm sure all of you guys are locked into it. But there were a lot of changes that CMS released. Not all of them are going into effect, though. Some of these updates have been stayed by a pending court case, and they are not going to go into effect this open enrollment. So some of the stuff you saw, like that $5 premium fee or that $5 fee for $0 auto renewals, changing the failure to reconcile period from 2 years to 1 year, expanded income DMIs if they had data sources showing income below 100% FPL, and the extended SEP verifications, those have been put on hold. So you're not going to see those this open enrollment. Most importantly are probably going to be the top two. That $5 fee for a $0 auto renew and the FTR period change are not going to go into effect. So that is good news, but not everything was stayed, right? So some things are either going into effect or are already in effect. Namely, that 150% FPL SEP, that ended in August 25th. So that is no longer an option for any clients. If they miss open enrollment, they are not anymore going to have the option to fix it up in February or March if they're low income. If they miss open enrollment, they are going to need a valid SEP that's not income related. There's also going to be the end of the automatic 60-day extension for DMIs. DACA recipients are also no longer able to enroll for coverage. And then there's also some changes for the premium methodology that I'll get to in a sec that are going to increase premiums across the board. So really the biggest thing here is just going to be getting everybody done during open enrollment, because SEPs are going to be limited. And if there is anybody with DMI, they're really going to have to get those in during the 90-day window that's initially offered to them. Otherwise, there's not going to be any extensions. CMS is really cracking down and is going to try to verify everything humanly possible. So just make sure that you're aware of those. And of course, as things change, O'Neill Marketing will let you all know as soon as we have verification of any new info. And then the last thing I wanted to do with you here today was just elaborate a little bit more about those premium increases that we're going to be seeing this year. So I'll start with the expanded subsidies. As of right now, subsidies are scheduled to sunset at the end of 2025. So unless something changes between now and November 1st, when your clients go to apply, all the quotes that they're seeing are going to be without the expanded subsidies. So people are going to probably be seeing higher premiums across the board without those subsidies. That being said, there is a chance that they will be extended past 2025. There's some notion that they might work out a 1 year, 2 year compromise to extend them a little bit, but that hasn't been finalized. There's no word on that. For that, frankly, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. If they get extended in the middle of open enrollment, we have no way to know. I don't know if that will result in an SEP for clients. Maybe they'll extend open enrollment. That's just going to be something we're going to have to wait and see. But I do want to mention that because even from the jump, there's going to be some premium increase there. But the other really big thing that is not dependent on Congress and has already been passed is the increase to the premiums across the board because of the premium adjustment index methodology. This gets a bit wonky, so I will save you all the nitty-gritty details. If you ever want to dive deeper into it, let me know. I love to talk about this stuff as much as it pains me. But essentially, premiums are going to increase across the board. I have the two tables here just to kind of show the difference. So the example is, let's say for 2025, 2024, you had a consumer with 140% FPL income. For 2025, you can see in that chart there, it determines the amount of their household income they're going to have to pay for the benchmark silver plan, which is, again, if you don't know, second lowest cost silver in their area. So for 2025, they would say, awesome, you're at 140%. That means that you have to pay $0 income for your benchmark silver. So if you wanted that silver plan, it's going to be premium free. If you want to maybe go up to a gold, it might cost you a little bit, but your benchmark was free. That is changing for 2026. So as you can see on that 2026 PAPI below, 133 to 150 is going to be 2.1 to about 3.14. So that person who, again, last year was paying nothing for their benchmark silver plan, this year is going to have to pay about 3% of their household income. So, just as a, quick math there, 3% of that for someone making, let's say, $20,000 a year, that's going to be $40, $50 a month. So they're going to be going from paying nothing or pretty much nothing to having to pay $40, $50 a month for that silver plan. So the bottom line is really that your clients who are enrolled in $0 silver plans are either going to have to start paying a premium next year, or they're going to have to change into a different tier plan in order to get that $0 premium back. And that's really why, as AOBG said earlier, active renewals are going to be critical for consumers this year. This year, it's going to be more important than ever for people to shop around and make sure that they understand all the options available to them. And as Mike said at the top too, really outreach ahead of time is going to be your best friend here to let agents know that, hey, your premiums are very likely going to increase and you need to start thinking about, do you want $0 premiums? Do you want the same coverage CSR benefits? What's more important to you? And start warming them up to that notion so that hopefully they don't get a lot of sticker shock in early November when you go to renew their plans, or God forbid they let it auto renew and don't realize that they now have to pay a premium and their plan falls off. So I really just want to highlight this because a lot of $0 plans have really been a cornerstone of the ACA market for the last few years. People have been able to get fantastic plans with CSR silver level plans and not pay anything a month or pay almost nothing a month. That is going to be changing. Premiums are going to go up this year just based on the adjustment methodology by CMS. And this is not even taking into account any, premium changes that come on the carrier side, which are pretty varied depending on the carrier and the state. So the main line here is that they're going to increase. Some clients might get some sticker shock, but it's really important that we are outreaching to them and making sure that we can help them navigate through that. And that, with all of that doom and gloom, is going to bring me to the end. Thank you so much. As always, if y'all have any questions, contracting, anything related, reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us an email, and we are always happy to help.
Thanks, William. Not doom and gloom, man. It's the reality of our industry, and we deal with change basically every year. As insurance agents, we have to be nimble. We have to learn to grow around what these new rules and new regs are in front of us. And that was a ton of very useful information. And also looking forward to getting my hands on that handbook. O'Neill Marketing is an amazing partner for AOBG. The resources that they provide our agents are because of this partnership, and it really should not be overlooked. So again, thank you, William, very much for your time, your presentation, and appreciate you sticking around for the roundtable at the end. Okay, so up next, I'm very excited. This is a great way to transition. I love actually that you ended with what you ended there, William, because up next we have Mark Capagrossi. He is a seasoned healthcare insurance executive with over 15 years of experience in the individual market. He currently serves as national broker sales executive at Elevance Health, which supports Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield plans in 14 states and WellPoint plans in 4 states. He has been instrumental in reshaping broker engagement models within Elevance Health and has a proven track record of helping agents sell and retain their business. Mark, if you're with us, sir, you can unmute and I'll pass the mic over to you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Just want to verify real quick. Are you able to see my screen?
Oh, yeah, we are. You're good to go.
Right. Great. Well, first off, I would say thank you for the opportunity to speak to you guys. I just also want to say that the O'Neill, the presentation you just saw, that was a really good one. That's hard to follow. So congrats on that. A lot of great information that they're sharing with you with this upcoming open enrollment. As he said, my name is Mark Capagrossi. I work here at Elevance Health, representing the Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield products, as well as the WellPoint plans as well. Today, we're going to talk about some of the Anthem opportunities that are available.
You here with us, Mark? Oh, perfect.
I am.
Your mic is cutting in and out.
Okay. Maybe. I think I'm going on mute and off mute. Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great. So, kind of my agenda and what we're going to really try to hit today is, Elevance Health. I was introduced as Elevance Health. Question a lot of times is, who is that? That's a brand that is unfamiliar to a lot of folks. So I want to make sure I kind of hit that. But also making sure that we talk about some of the tools that are available to your clients when they enroll in an Anthem plan, making sure they have a really great experience with the plan that you enroll them in. Also making sure that you understand the tools that are available for you as the agent broker to retain those individuals, to make sure that you provide them the service that, some would want to build that rapport, build that relationship. More importantly, hopefully grab some referrals. Jump into some of the legislation updates that have occurred, some of the IRS updates. I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of what O'Neill was talking about in terms of some of the tax credits, kind of jump into some of that stuff. State updates, as well as some of the broker support phone numbers and emails, so you have that. So let's jump in. I will be open, if anybody has any questions, if that's okay, if you can jot those in there. I'm not sure if that's it doesn't look like
it's
available.
Yeah, it's perfect, and we will provide Q&A after your presentation here, Mark.
Perfect. All right. So Elevance Health, to start, this we were branded as as Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield about, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, but the company decided to rebrand itself under the Elevance Health as Elevance Health. So, a couple years ago, if you're looking to buy healthcare stocks and you wanted to buy some Anthem, you'd go to the stock exchange and look for Anthem and then do what you needed to do. With the rebranding now, if you wanted to go buy Anthem stock, you would go to and look for Elevance Health. Elevance Health is we're a Fortune 25 company. You can see that we're very financially strong. We've been in the ACA space since the beginning in the 14 states. But we're also starting to expand those into some of the WellPoint markets, which, O'Neill is one of those partners. So you guys also have access to that. Underneath the umbrella, Carelon is our PBM, Amerigroup, Simply, those are some Medicare, Medicaid products. But overall, we are financially strong. And I just want to make sure people kind of saw the umbrella of the Elevance Health brand so everybody is somewhat familiar. Today, we're going to talk about the Anthem states. They're here in blue. We represent and have ACA products in the states of California, Nevada, Colorado, Wisconsin, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio. That is Kentucky, Virginia, the great state of Georgia. That is where I'm sitting today. Maine, New Hampshire, New York, as well as in Connecticut. So a lot of states, a lot of opportunity to enroll members across the country with Anthem. So making sure that they have the tools that are available to them and making sure you guys are aware of it. Of course, we have anthem.com. They can go there, register themselves at the member portal. From there, they can have access to their ID cards. They can view claims, view the billing. They can also refill prescriptions, locate pharmacists, do provider searches, and so forth. They can also do Live Health Online. That is our virtual care provider where you can go see a doctor for some basic information. They can also send a prescription down to the local pharmacist. I do know that sometimes members and I call them members, but your clients may want to research the carrier, make sure the network, and also research the network in some cases before enrolling. They can do that here with a basic search at anthem.com. Just make sure if that's something that they do, provide them the correct network, because in the Anthem states, we have a lot of different networks that are available, and making sure they chose the right one is going to be very important. The one that I would highly encourage, if you're going to write notes down, this would be the one that I would say, write this one down. This is our Sydney mobile app. The Sydney mobile app gives your clients the ability to have this thing downloaded to their iPhone, their Samsung, whatever tablet they may own, but gives them a place where they can basically access all their healthcare benefits with their Anthem plan. As you can see here, they can do a doctor search, find doctors. They can also compare costs. And in today's world, with costs going up, with the unknown sometimes about, how much is it going to cost for me to go see this dermatologist? When doing a search here in the Sydney mobile app, in many cases, it will give you a cost based on the plan you have to go see that dermatologist, for example. I think that's huge, and I want to make sure people hear that in today's world where somebody may be limited on funds but still need to access care, downloading the Sydney mobile app, searching for the care they need, in many cases will show you how much it's going to cost to go and see that provider. That's huge. Also, they can, of course, view their claims. They can also have access to their ID cards. As a primary, they can have ID cards for themselves, their spouse, their children. They can also email or fax that ID card over to the provider while they're there or before the visit, because those doctors always want to have that on file. They can also fill prescriptions, chat with member support. As I mentioned before, with the Live Health Online, that is also available here through the Sydney mobile app, being able to access virtual care. There's a lot of different things here, but overall, it's a great mobile app. This will help with them having a great overall experience and being able to contact member services if they have questions as well through the app itself. As you can see, it has a 4.8 star rating on the Apple Store, over 15 plus million users. This mobile app is available to anybody underneath the Elevance Health umbrella. So anybody on a commercial policy with us, major corporation, those CEOs are using the same mobile app as your clients that are highly subsidized, which is nice. You can see here, let me go to the next screen. How can I help you? I know that's kind of hard, kind of blurry. That's a built-in AI. So if your customer is at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out something about their healthcare benefits, they can use the AI function within the Mid-Sydney mobile app, and it will help generate them an answer. Most times give them the answer they're looking for. With the Sydney mobile app, I know mental health, access to mental health is also important. So they can also access care, which the members can, of course, do the virtual care with a licensed therapist for stress, anxiety, depression, family issues, other health concerns, and they can also make an appointment with a psychiatrist if that's something they need. One thing you can see here, depending on your clientele in the language preference, you can see that it's in both English and in Spanish based on your client's preference. So Sydney mobile app, that's the first thing I'd ask you all to write down for us. Talking about switching over to some of the tools for you guys. How do you maintain your clientele if and when they call you? When you guys got appointed with us, you created yourself a producer toolbox username and password. We're going to talk about that. Anthem Broker Hub, as well as the Broker Plus mobile app. This is something that I really haven't promoted in the years past, but wanted to promote it this year pretty heavily. So you can see here at anthem.com, you can, of course, access the producer toolbox. This is where you will be able to have access to all of your members that you enroll with us. If you are also selling in some of the WellPoint states of Florida, Texas, Maryland, Washington, you will also have access to those members here in one portal. I almost kind of call this the Elevance Health type of broker portal, even though I'm probably not allowed to say that, but I said it anyways. But basically, you'll be able to have access to all your clients. You'll be able to find your ID cards if they need it, because that's usually the first question they get after they enroll. Hey, where's my ID card? You can have it right there in your broker portal. As the last presentation, they were talking about loss of the SEP for people under 150. So I think this year is going to be a little unique in making sure that you maintain your clientele, making sure you don't lose them. So definitely access your book of business. Go out there and also check your billing reports for those people that do have premiums to making sure they're not late. Or if you do see that they're late, make sure you set them up on an auto draft. So it's being drafted out of their checking account on a monthly basis to make sure they don't lose the coverage. If they lose their coverage, that's not a qualifying event. That person may end up going uninsured. Members that are turning 26, 65, you want to keep those members under your umbrella. So make sure you go out there maybe once a month and just take a look at that. But for right now, I would say the renewal reports are the thing that we're probably more interested in. As we'll talk later about some of the refilings that are occurring, those renewal reports are starting to be generated and starting to be put and loaded into the producer toolbox for you. So by I think the 27th and 28th of October, all of them will be loaded for all of our states. Some of those states refilings are taking a little bit longer than others. So that's kind of why they may be trickling in. But there's a lot of great stuff out there for you to help retain your clientele for the 2026 calendar year and also try to renew them. There's also a producer assistant chat out there in case sometimes life gets busy. Sometimes it's hard to get on the phone with broker support. But you can also use the producer chat, ask it questions, go in there and get those answers. I know a lot of people like to retain some of the notes where, again, you can, of course, download that, keep that for your that conversation for future use in case you get conflicting information. And of course, you can receive immediate username and password support 24/7. So always try to take advantage of all the tools that are available to you. When you log into the producer toolbox, you're not going to find any marketing material. It's really more or less a toolbox for members. And because of the branding of the WellPoint and the Anthem, we have to kind of keep that separate for branding purposes. So I'd encourage people, if you know, write this one down too, anthembrokerhub.com. You can also add a QR code to make it easy. This is where you're going to be able to go out there and really kind of filter from the state, filter the category individual, and be able to access a lot of different marketing material. This is also a great place to go out here and find marketing material on the Sydney mobile app. Maybe you could download a PDF or something that you can send to your client, you know, after they enroll, or maybe at the beginning of next year, whatever you guys think is makes sense. So a way to, you know, make sure your customers stay happy and make sure they understand the tools that are available to them too. So this year I am promoting the Broker Plus mobile app. So this app is basically something you can download. There's the QR code there as well. This basically puts the producer toolbox right on your iPhone or your Apple phone or your smart device. Why is that important? Your clients, they don't really care what you're doing. You could be on the beach, on the boat, golfing, whatever, shopping, grocery shopping. They may call you and they may need something. The Broker Plus mobile app gives you the ability to log in, access your producer toolbox from your phone, track clients' applications, access ID cards. I think that's one of the ones I hear a lot. You know, hey, I need my ID card. I need to go see a doctor. Well, or I'm at the doctor. I don't have my ID card. Hey, no problem. Give me a minute. Boom, you can send that to them so they have it. Again, those little things right there that go a long ways in building good rapport with your clients, and you know, making sure that they know, keep you in mind. Send me those referrals that come about. Also, this is also a great place to receive updates, alerts, news articles, you know, that are generated by us. Do you have to read them all? No, but you can take a quick glance to see if it's going to be interesting to you and your book of business. We do have, we do have incentive programs for clients that enroll with Anthem. Very simple. We just encourage or try to encourage individuals to go out and get their annual wellness exam or physical, or their well woman's exam within the first 120 days. Individuals that are able to do that, complete the assessment, can receive a $50 gift card, which they can, of course, insert that information in the Sydney mobile app so they can have access to those different variety of gift cards that would be available to them. There's also a health assessment that they can complete. That can also be found there on the Sydney mobile app. They get that completed, they would be also qualified for another $25 gift card of their choice, which if they complete both would be a total of $75 worth of gift cards for them. Jumping into some of the legislation updates, the first one here I'll talk about is the No Surprise Act, the out-of-network non-emergency ambulance limits. Any plan that includes a $50,000 limit will clarify that it does not apply to air ambulance services. While we can keep the limit for ground and water ambulance services where allowed by state law, we must remove it from the air ambulance services. That's a federal law there. Also talking about the federal mental health parity and autism services. You know, in the past, autism was treated as a medical benefit rather than a mental health. Now autism will be defined as a mental health, and the age limits on autism services will be removed from all of our plans. So good stuff there. Jumping over to the next one. Some of the contract language updates when it comes to the federal mental health parity updates, as well as payment of therapy services. Language will appear through the Schedule of Benefits, SOBs, Schedule of Benefits, clarifying that the therapy services provided with a primary diagnostic of mental health or substance abuse disorder conditions will be covered under the mental health and substance abuse disorder benefit. This could affect some cost share and certain benefit limits when it comes to home health care, therapy service, etc. Also, jumping into the preventative care for chronic conditions, the EOC language will be updated to list, will be updated to a list the chart of items allowed by the IRS for pre-deductible coverages instead of linking it to an IRS website, which is out of date. So that chart may vary depending on whether the plan also includes preventative RX benefits. So also for 2026, Anthem's coverage expansion for some breast and cervical cancer screenings. I know maybe that this concern comes up, especially for individuals that may be dealing with it or had it in the past. So for us, the enhanced breast cancer imaging services, which include MRI, ultrasound, pathology, biopsy evaluations, now covered under the HCR preventative benefit. Also supports comprehensive screening by addressing inconclusive or initial findings. We also introduction of patient navigation services with facilities breast and cervical cancer screening, basically reducing barriers and enhances follow-up care. All this is in terms of compliance and regulation, which aligns with the HRSA guidelines approved back in December 2024 and appears by the IRS notice of 2024-75. Anyways, keep going on that. You can see MRI and ultrasound services now qualify for pre-deductible coverage in the high deductible health plans as well. So that's another good one. So every year, it seems like the out-of-pocket maximum keeps trickling up. Here it is again. The out-of-pocket max for your traditional copay plans is going from $9,200 per individual up to $10,600 for an individual, $21,200 for a family. With your HSA qualified plans, it goes up to $8,500, $17,000 for a family. This was going to be the first year that HSA plans typically were always limited to either gold or silver. This year, you will see HSA plans that are available all the way down to the bronze level. So I know O'Neill Marketing was just talking about some of the changes in terms of the ACA marketplace. As we talked about some of the enhanced tax credits that are out there, the government shutdowns, I would say healthcare reforms right there in the middle of it. But I think the one thing that I think the last presentation kind of went over a little bit, but how does this really affect you? How's this going to affect your clientele? And so I wanted to go into that a little deeper with this particular presentation. You saw this chart here on the last presentation, but how does that relate to your clientele? So I'm going to start talking about those individuals that are on that cost share reduction silver plan. And so these are the percentages of income that people would pay in 2025. And so how does that relate? And again, keep in mind, these are numbers based that I did here in Georgia. If you're in a state that has expanded Medicaid, these numbers may vary a little bit. If you want to go out there and just kind of play around yourself, you can go to or Google the Kaiser Family Foundation. How much more would people pay in premiums if the enhanced tax credits expire? You can kind of go out there and kind of run different scenarios yourself. But overall, some would be making between $16,000 and $23,000 would qualify for that really rich cost share reduction plan. And it wouldn't cost them anything. So they would get a very low price plan and a really rich plan that they can then afford to go out and utilize. If the tax credits are not expanded for 2026, that individual making around $16,000 is going to have a premium of around $28. If they're making around $23,000, that plan will go up to $77. Now, this is the way it was at the original, the Affordable Care Act was originally set up. The tax credits were put in place by the Biden administration during the COVID years. And that's kind of what they're looking at with it expiring at the end of the year. Now, that's a kind of a big jump from going from zero for the last couple of years to around $77, $75, whatever it may be. So I think from an agent's perspective is really trying to understand your client a little bit more, especially those individuals on these. Understanding how often do you go to the doctor? How often do you go to see a specialist? You should have kind of list their medications and kind of where they fall in terms of generics or preferred generics and so forth. And start running math. By the way, you go to the doctor a handful of times, I know this $75 premium may seem expensive, but if I move you to a $0 bronze plan, going to a specialist and a primary care, that's going to be $100 a time for a specialist. You go twice a month, that's $200. That right there is telling me that you need to pay $77. You're going to end up paying less because that $77 plus the $25, I'm just making up numbers, on the primary care is still less than the 2 visits that you would do on the free bronze. So the people that are low utilizers of healthcare benefits, you may say, well, no reason to pay the $70 a month. Let's move you to a 0 bronze. Now, if the enhanced tax credits do extend in late November or early December, maybe start jotting those people down that do want the silver, but can't really afford the premium. If the tax credits get extended, you can reach back into those folks, rerun the numbers, get the consent. That's one thing I just learned from the last call, and maybe move them back over to the silver plan. If customers talk about why they're getting their renewals late, well, part of it was some of the refilings that were occurred. Well, part of the rule for 2026 was that they were trying to expand the actuarial value of the silver plan all the way from a 70% down to 66. Basically, actuarial value, if some people are scratching their head, I define that as really the percentage that the insurance company is going to pay for someone's care. So going from 70 and stretching it down to 66 really makes those plans a little bit more affordable for some people. But the Maryland court basically said that's illegal. You can't do that. The court was supposed to have a final ruling made by September 19th. On September 21st, basically CMS came out with some guidance, basically asking us as an insurance carrier to refile based on the 2025 actuarial value ranges. That is why some of our renewals in some certain states are still outstanding. Kind of frustrating, but that's just the truth of it. And also that gives you a little bit of knowledge in case those questions come up. The government thought, well, hey, the catastrophic plans are about 20% cheaper than overall most plans on the market. Let's just expand those to everybody. Well, they were cheaper than most of the plans, but those were set for people under the age of 30 years old. That's how they were underwritten. So when we expanded those out to everybody, regardless of age, we had to refile those rates as well. Keep in mind for catastrophic plans, they still have to apply for the financial hardship. So anybody not receiving tax credits for one reason or another, more than likely will be able to qualify for this. As these catastrophic plans are ineligible for the APTC, they're not available for tax credits. So people are going to end up, these individuals will pay full price for this particular type of plan. But, it's still affordable protection. It still has the essential health benefits that people all want. And it gives you the preventative care at no cost. So I say that because we talked about these individuals between 150 to 300 on the cost share silver plans. But look at the cliff. This is the cliff people talk about. The people between 300 and above 400% of the federal poverty level. These people here are going to be paying a huge amount of premium from the year prior to that. We want to make sure that the healthier people in this ACA marketplace have an affordable plan and gives them the protection that they're looking for. So as you look at some of these, as your book of business, that the people are going, wow, I just had a huge increase. I'm out. I can't afford it. I'm healthy anyways. That may generate, a thought process of looking at a catastrophic plan to give them something that gives them the protection they want, and also getting them yearly checkups. And I think that in most cases across the state, that these plans should be somewhere between 5 to 10% cheaper than the low-cost bronze plan. These catastrophic plans will also be available and have access to an HSA, and HSA is qualified. So for 2026, I mentioned the bronze plans will be HSA qualified, and so will the catastrophic plans. Jumping into some of the updates, you can see here some of the big ones that I want to address. All the plans in Georgia are going to be open access for 2026. In Georgia, we had the Blue Value plans that were gatekeeper. We had pathway open gated access plans, as well as pathway plans. All of them this year for 2026 will be open access. So that's a pretty big deal there. Pretty nice to have that. We'll be exiting some of the areas in Indiana. So if you have an Indiana book of business, go look at that renewal report in your producer toolbox. You will find that if you have a client in an area that's being affected here, let's say Indiana, it will show the customer, show their current plan, the price, but the renewal plan might be blank. It would be blank if there is no plan for us to renew. That might be somebody you reach out to, make sure that they get re-enrolled into another plan or new product. We are expanding there in Missouri, rating region 7, some of those lower counties on the bottom left-hand side of Missouri. In Nevada, Nevada is a state-based exchange, but they're also offering now a new state public option that they have available to a couple of carriers. Anthem is one of the carriers that will be offering that plan. It will be called Battle Born plans. It will have our Blue Cross Blue Shield logo next to it. I would stay away from those plans. They are not commissionable to agents and brokers. So I want to make sure people are aware of that. There is going to be a PPO network change from a Pathway PPO over to a Blue Priority PPO as well. In New Hampshire, we do have the catastrophic plan. Those are not commissionable either. So keep that in mind. And for some of the off exchange products, if you have off exchange folks, the off exchange EPO plans will be mapped over to an HMO. We will be sending out a discontinuing letter as well as a renewal letter. So if they see that, you're getting calls about that, don't be worried. Just let them know it's being mapped to an HMO. Wisconsin is a mess, and it's very hard for me to kind of put it all here. So what I'm going to tell you is that we are expanding some of the Pathway HMO products there in the state of Wisconsin. But there's going to be a lot of change, a lot of mix going on in terms of the Blue Preferred POS and some of the Blue Priority point of service plans. Definitely check your renewal reports for these types of individuals to make sure that either they're being transitioned over to one or the other, or they may not be being renewed at all. So those are kind of the big highlights I wanted to bring to y'all's attention. More importantly, things come up, questions need to be answered. Write the broker support phone number down. They are very great broker support. I mean, typically I get the escalated issues. I get very few because broker support pretty much handles most of all of that stuff. The phone number's there. During open enrollment, just like all carriers, we get a little bogged down, but feel free to email individual broker services at anthem.com. We have a staff there monitoring and answering those as well. I'll leave it here to this screen for now, and I will see if there's any questions.
Man, thanks, Mark. What a ton of very good information. I have a question actually for you. Are the catastrophic plans going to be available in most states?
They will be available in most states for sure. New Hampshire, I mentioned, are not commissionable. And I think I just got a notification the other day that we actually pulled the catastrophic plan out of Ohio because the DOI in Ohio would not let us refile those rates. So if we can't refile the rates and make sure the rates are set according to what we feel they need to be, well, we just pulled them out. Those are the only two states that come to mind that we will not have catastrophic. Or I would say stay away from, the Ohio doesn't have it, but I would probably stay away from the one in New Hampshire since it's not commissionable.
Makes perfect sense, of course. You mentioned the app earlier on in your presentation, and you made a big deal about it. Why is that such a big selling point that agents should kind of discuss with their customers?
You talking about the Sydney mobile app?
Yes.
I think it comes down to the experience the individual has, regardless of where they are in the healthcare world, regardless of their knowledge of healthcare. Being able to access information No one, it seems like today in today's world, people don't want to talk to folks. Highly subsidized individuals or subsidized folks, in some cases, don't want to be sold. If you can teach them or they can play around with kind of their benefits and figure it out themselves, gives them a little piece of pride. With our city mobile app, it's super easy to use. Being able to have your ID cards there keeps them happy. It also prevents them from calling you and asking you for the ID card. But I also think being able now to search for a provider in their area and seeing about how much it's going to cost them, I think that is also a big game changer too, because last thing we want people to do is not go to and get the care that they need because they're fearful that they don't have the money for it. And so if they use the mobile app, look for a provider in their area. Let's say they need to go see a doctor sick, primary care. They can look to see, all right, here's a primary care doctor in my area. Oh, and it reflects the benefits that I'm on to let me know how much it's going to cost me to go visit that doctor. I think to me, and a lot of the other things that are available in here, kind of changes the game a little bit. And that's kind of the short
Yeah, I like
elevator
that.
speech.
That's
Yeah.
great. One final, and please avoid specifics. We have a lot of different agents on here, so.
Yeah.
But is Anthem, Elevance going to do any kind of bonus kind of program this year or anything like that?
Uh, yeah. I mean, we under, and here's what I'll say about that. Our plan is, of course, yes, we're working on that now. We always want to
Good.
come out with a very competitive compensation package that includes the commissions as well as bonus.
Yes.
And so we're currently working on that now. I don't think I would be, from the earlier conversations that I've had today, up to date, our commissions should stay pretty flat going into 2026. There
Okay.
might be a state of Wisconsin with a lot of that up and down. There might be some adjustments there. But overall, we should be pretty flat across the board.
Okay.
Our plan for our bonuses will also, again, should be competitive, and it should be year round as well.
Excellent. Love hearing that, Mark. And again, thank you so much for your time today. The information about, of course, your programs, about Anthem, Elevance in general, was absolutely invaluable. Really appreciate your time. We're going to take over presentation now. And again, thank you very much for being here with us today. Next up, we've got a very special guest from Oscar. Ari Evans, a seasoned leader in the health insurance industry with 25 years of experience spanning individual and family plans, Medicare, and the group insurance markets. She currently serves as a sales lead for the state of Florida at Oscar Health for IFP and ICRA, where she has spent the last 5 years driving growth and innovation. Ari, we're looking forward to all you have to share with us today. Please take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. It is an honor and a privilege for me to be here. So can't wait to get started and tell you everything that's happening at Oscar. We are leaning in. So you'll see in the presentation. So give me 1 second and we'll get started. So once again, I'm Ari Evans. I am the sales lead for the state of Florida. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. I've been at Oscar now for 5 years. It's been an incredible journey for me and looking forward to many years to come. So on behalf of Madeline Aratola, our sales director, and the rest of our team, welcome once again. Here's our sales team. Please take a picture of this page for your records. As you can see, we're led by Madeline Aratola. In Florida, I have 2 team members that help me with the state. Jocelyn Castillo is our South Florida sales executive, and Yasmin Shalbu Martinez is our sales executive for Central and North. Eric serves the state of Texas, and as you can see, we have other team members that help us in the other states. And Mr. Andy Mueller is our sales lead for ICRA.
And
So
Ari, you,
today's,
you have
yeah, go ahead.
control of the application. If you'd like to just press on the screen, you could move it forward at the bottom.
Yeah, I think I'm doing that right now. Is it not? I believe I'm doing that. Thank you. So our agenda today consists of Oscar, change is opportunity, plans at network, and moving forward together. So before we get started, I just want to tell everyone about Oscar's mission to make a healthier life accessible and affordable for all. And we know that this is not possible without our broker partners like you on this call. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your trust. You're the ones working with your clients, helping them access affordable and high quality health insurance. So let me tell you a little bit about Oscar. As you can see here, our footprint on this slide, we're currently in 18 states, and we're happy to announce that we're growing our footprint, adding 2 more states, Alabama and Mississippi. So we're doing this as always, the way Oscar does it, it's we grow responsibly. We're launching new and innovative products for both IFP and ICRA, and I will get into that in a second. And we're strengthening our market leading tools and technology. So Oscar today, you can see that Oscar has grown a lot throughout the years. We are excited that, my goodness, we have doubled our membership, as you can see here, from 2022 to 2025. So we are honored to serve over 2 million members today. We are a Fortune 500 company. 90% of our membership is broker driven. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. Today, we're the second largest ACA carrier in the country. So we've come a long way from that little startup company 12 years ago. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Oscar has always been hyper focused on our member experience through our technology, through our dedicated member care teams, through our industry leading app. All of this has earned us an NPS score of 68. The Net Promoter Score is a metric used to measure loyalty and satisfaction and how often individuals will recommend a company. We're really proud of it, and none of our competitors can boast about this. We have this 68 NPS score in an industry where the average NPS score is 7. You can see this on this page. Our NPS score beats out well-known household brand names like Apple and Adidas. So we're highly focused on keeping our members happy, making sure they love us. But that absolutely goes for our brokers too. 4 out of 5 brokers recommend Oscar. This speaks volumes. We want to continue to be your favorite carrier to work with. We understand that our growth and success is directly related to our broker partners, and we want to do everything we can do to be a resource for you. So we're committed to being leaders in this space. We have placed lots of resources this year to help our brokers stay informed on all the CMS changes that will affect you all this open enrollment. We've been providing regulatory update webinars all year long and just doing what we can do to be a resource for all of you and keeping you informed. So allow me to talk a little bit about new things for 2026. As I mentioned earlier, our footprint keeps growing with the expansion to Alabama and Mississippi and 54 counties across the country in existing states. Innovative products include condition-based plans and our introduction of our newest condition-based plan, the Women's Wellness Menopause Plan, to support women experiencing symptoms related to menopause. And our seamless transition from EPO to HMO in Florida. The experience and network will remain the same. No referrals are needed to see the specialist, and members will be mapped to the similar HMO plan. And specifically in Central Florida. We're expanding our network in Central Florida, so super excited about that. And we continue to invest in technology. And one of the advancements we're rolling out, and it should be coming out sometime this week, is our super agent. We believe that this is the first healthcare AI that can operate across insurance systems in real time. Super agent provides members with fast, clear, and personalized answers to their health insurance questions, from care options to cost coverage. This is available 24/7 for our members, citing trusted and Oscar vetted sources. So we're really excited about this tool that is going to be available for all members. And by the way, this is also going to be available in Spanish. So change is opportunity. So now let's dig in and talk about the growth opportunity, as there are many this season. As some of our competitors are exiting, like Aetna, and others are pulling back, we are leaning in. We're all in. We are only doing ACA. We're excited about our trajectory in which we're seeing our positioning this coming season. And although that some of our states' rates are not out, are not final yet, we're feeling good, and we encourage you to start planning to grow your Oscar book of business. So I'm sure you've heard by now that Aetna is exiting 12 states in the Oscar footprint, which represents roughly around 850,000 members that will be in need of a new plan. We strongly believe that Oscar will be the solution for some of the markets that we're located in. A couple of things I want to point out. So what we did here was highlight some plans for you in Florida, and we're going to go through this in Texas, and then I also have New Jersey here. So in Florida, if you look at the Aetna Bronze 4, if you have an Aetna member that has a Bronze Bronze Plan 4, the best plan to consider for them would be the Bronze Elite PCP Saver. We do not have pricing yet, but in terms of plan designs, this is the most liked plan that we recommend. We potentially will have some zero bronze plans. However, we want to point your attention to those that are on silver. Many members here in Florida, from an Oscar perspective, are in a 150 CSR level. So it's likely that an Aetna member currently is in a silver plan is at the same level as well. So we're recommending go for the gold. And let me tell you why. Because enhanced subsidies are set to expire at the end of the year. Even though our silver positioning is expected to be competitive, rates are expected to increase substantially. It is possible that someone that is getting additional help today, an additional subsidy in the coming year, may not be able to afford a silver plan. So there will be zero gold plans in the Florida market. We're really excited about that. And a few minutes from now, I'm going to show you an amazing slide that is going to show you why we're super excited about Florida. So remember, go for the gold. And also, this is where you will want to place the Aetna members currently in a silver 5. This strategy is for Florida, and we'll have zero gold plans in many counties. You'll see that shortly. So in Texas, if you have someone in an Aetna Silver 5, the plan we recommend will be the Silver Simple PCP Saver, which has been one of historically probably one of the most popular plans that we have nationwide. In New Jersey, if you have a client in an Aetna Bronze 1, we recommend moving them to the Oscar Bronze Classic. And if you have a member in an Aetna Silver 1, we recommend moving them to the Oscar Silver Elite Plus. So something else that I want to call out about New Jersey, New Jersey, we're trending really well. We have the Qual Care Network with 71 hospitals. So we're also very excited about New Jersey. So let's talk a little bit about plans and networks and price. We have 3 plan suites. We've got the Silver Saver, which is designed for those looking to save money on their healthcare. It is not a catastrophic plan, but it is for those that have lower utilization and are looking for just in case protection. These are one of the most affordable plans. Then we have the Classic Suite, which is designed for those that are not regular utilizers, but are looking for predictable copays for most common services. And finally, our Elite Suite, typically richer in scope. It is designed for those with higher utilization, those that are looking for predictable copays. They tend to be the higher price plans. So going back to Florida for a second here. Again, the theme, go for the gold in Florida. So let's talk a little bit more about this. I think this diagram really helps to bring the message home. So when we look at this diagram, this individual in 2025 has a Silver Simple PCP Saver plan, which is one of the most popular plans also in Florida. Very low cost, right? In some markets, we were $0, and in some, we were really a cost silver option. In 2026, although I don't have the exact pricing for you yet, they're going to experience a substantial premium increase. In this case, the deductible will also increase. So significant changes to this plan for 2026, which is why we're saying there are 2 options to either buy down to Bronze Elite, but we highly recommend that you go for the gold and offer a gold plan, which potentially will be $0 in Florida and will have benefits that are really in line and closer to what they currently have today. So more to come there. I also want to talk about the HMO. I want to talk about the HMO. So transitioning, as I mentioned previously, from an EPO to an HMO, but it should be a non-event for all of our members. And what I mean by that is that there'll be automap to the same HMO plan. They do not have to take any action if they're happy with the plan that they're currently in. No referrals are required to visit a specialist. And again, it's a smooth transition. They'll be able to see a provider in the network across county lines in Florida. So here we go. So our current EPO network will be called the Standard Network. And specifically in Central Florida, I just want to bring this to your attention. We're adding a new partner. I can't make an announcement yet of who that partner is going to be, but an announcement will come out soon. Also, in the standard network, we'll be adding Ascension in North Florida and Larking in South Florida. Once again, here is the standard HMO network. As you can see here, all of our health systems that are included in this network. And in Central Florida, your clients will have 2 options. We'll have the standard network, which includes Advent, as you can see here, and they'll have co-branded plans. And also there'll be a broad network, which is also going to include the health systems that are currently in the standard network or the EPO network, plus another health system. And actually, you'll be able to see that here a little bit better. So we're excited about this. More to come soon in the next few days as we make this major announcement. So hot markets in Florida. My goodness, these are definitely my favorite slides here. As you can see here, just want to bring this up again. Go for the gold. So Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, the Tri-County area in the South, it's going to have $0 gold. As you can see, this is someone with a 130% FPL. This is how much we're estimating the silver plans to cost. Especially, this is obviously the example that we're giving here is as the enhanced subsidies are set to expire at the end of the year. Look at the bronze plans. We'll definitely have $0 plans, but let's go for the gold, especially for those high utilizers. Gold is their answer. Another one that I want to call out, Hillsborough County, Tampa. My goodness. We have not been competitive in the Tampa area in a long time. Check out the gold, $0 golds. Duval County, Jacksonville area, the same. We have not been competitive in that area. Watch out for 2026, $0 golds. Palm Beach County will continue to be very competitive with $0 golds. Orange, Osceola, excited, super excited about Central Florida and the growth that we'll see from that area. We have another slide here. We have Pasco. We have not been competitive in Pasco. Here we go, $0 golds. Bay, one of my favorite areas in the world, in the Panhandle, $0 golds. So as you can see, we're super, super excited about Florida. And so let's go for gold in Florida. So I want to talk a little bit about North Carolina for a second and show you the footprint in North Carolina. We are in 23 counties with major health systems as Atrium Health, Cone Health, Advent Health, Hendersonville, and Mission Health. We do have a co-branded plan with Atrium Health in North Carolina in the counties that you see listed here. Texas, we're expanding in Texas. In Texas, we are expanding to 4 new counties. Now, as you know, the way it works in Texas, we do have the EPO network and we do have the HMO guided care. That network requires referrals, and one of the changes that you will see for 2026 is that the actual name of the plan is going to include referrals required. We don't want anyone to be confused with any other HMOs that we have in other states. Texas is the only one that has the HMO guided care, which requires referrals are required. Now, competitive position, El Paso, Fort Worth, and Southwest Houston are expected and are trending really well at this time. Now, also what I have done here at the bottom, I have included our URL, our email, our website, our web address to go and get more information on the Texas network. But if you want to take a picture of that, I'll leave it up for a few more seconds. But here, I want to show you DFW. We do have the EPO network, and we do have the HMO network. In El Paso, the EPO network includes Las Palmas del Sol and the Hospitals of Providence. For our HMO guided care, it is the Hospitals of Providence. Houston, remember Houston is trending really well. We do have both the EPO and the HMO networks. And you see the counties that are listed here, which will be offering the service area for the EPO and the service area for the HMO. So let's talk a little bit about the condition-based plans. And let me tell you, I just want to touch on this for a moment because we know that one of the goals during open enrollment is to retain as many of your members as possible. And part of doing so is making sure that you connect them with the plan that best fits their need. Oscar is really pleased and excited about the expansion of our condition-based plans. We believe we're one of the most innovative in this space when compared to our competitors, and we're even adding a menopause plan, which I will get into a minute. So today we're offering the diabetes plan care plans and chronic care plans. And in some markets, we also offer the COPD plans. In 2026, we're introducing our women's health menopause plan. At the end of the day, although the premiums may be slightly higher, we want to stress that if you look at the annual costs associated with someone that has one of these conditions, they will actually save money in the long run. So we highly encourage you to take that extra step and really get to know your clients. And if they suffer from one of these conditions, this will be the best plans for them. So here on the left-hand side, you'll see why we stress that. These are, let's say, for example, in some of our plans, this is specifically some of the diabetes, and you see zero PCP, zero behavioral labs, zero behavioral health, excuse me, $0 for labs, $0 for tier 1A RX. So yes, at the end of the day, we are, these plans have been very popular, and we continue to expand this portfolio. So I'm going to dig in a little bit more as to why we're excited about our plans, condition-based plans. We can validate that someone in one of these plans actually has healthier health outcomes. For example, there is an increase of 15% in PCP visits, 13% increase in clinically relevant exams. We see that members are utilizing the plans, and many members have even lower ER and urgent care utilization. So at the end of the day, they experience better health outcomes. So here what we've done with the menopause plan, we have compared the benefits to one of our most popular plans. As you can see, there's a huge difference in what the members would have to pay. So if you have someone in the silver PCP saver, let's say for example, and they go for a gynecological visit, they would have to pay $15 compared to $0 in the women's health menopause plan. As you can see, a lot of zeros here compared to our most popular plan, where they would have copay or it would even have coinsurance in some instances. So all of our condition-based plans do offer a rewards program. This is an example of the Women's Menopause Plan as to what the rewards program looks like. So moving forward, a couple of things. I don't know if you have visited your broker portal lately, but my goodness, we have made some major enhancements to the portal. This is one of the things that I want to call out is the broker toolkit. It should be available already. If not, it's coming out this week, but I believe it came out last week. It will have plan comparisons. It would have the Oscar Essential Guide. It would even have templates that you can use for social media, for emails, and it does have a retention guide. By the way, in your broker portal, all the way to the right, to the bottom right, you're going to see, and we encourage you that you click on the demo app. This is the app. You'll have a demonstration there. at your fingertips to be able to see what the actual member app looks like and everything that it offers. There is a wealth of information in the member app. We believe that our member app is one of the best. It gives the ID card, the digital ID card for the members. It even allows them to do virtual visits. It gives them up-to-date information on their benefits and how much they have use of their benefit. For example, their MOOP, their deductible. So there's a lot of information there. So we're having a lot of resources, and we're providing a lot of education to arm our agents. So we are here for you. We are committed to championing the individual market and its future, and we could not do this without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So please remain engaged. Let us know what else you need from us to be successful this season, and stay tuned for all the upcoming. We will have more webinars and sessions. We are excited to grow with you and make our members healthier and happy, and we're dedicated to your development and success.
Wow, thanks, Ari. What a great presentation. That was a ton of valuable information. I'm sure the agents are going to be lining up to take a look at the plans this year for sure, especially those gold plans in Florida. Let's go get some $0 golds out there for sure.
Let's
Are you
do it.
expecting Oscar to be competitive also, without specifics, but just generally with the commission and bonus programs this year?
Yes, we are. We are offering a bonus program, and then we're also expected to be very competitive when it comes to the commissions.
Will the bonus program be solely on new business for
Yes,
2026 or?
it is. It is new business to Oscar for sure. Yes.
Excellent, excellent.
It's
Well, listen, again,
level bonuses. So I just want to make sure we all know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, we do want to know that. Well, again, thank you very much for your time today and for all of this great information. We know Oscar's going to be very competitive this year, which is why we wanted to have you on to speak to our agents. So again, all right, thank you very much, and looking forward to talking to you again in a bit.
Thank
Now,
you. My
next
pleasure.
up. Oh, yes, absolutely. Next up, a company that I absolutely love working with, a carrier that does what they say and says what they mean. We have been representing Washington National products for years now and can speak from experience when I tell you that the products that they design help you sell more, provide more value to your customers, and help you keep more customers on your book. I'd like to introduce you to a very good friend of mine and associate, David Steffen, Sales Director here at Washington National. David, if you can unmute, sir, it is your time to shine.
Thanks, Vince. I appreciate it. Thanks for everybody's time today. I'm going to try to make this as painless as possible going through the process. Oh, bear with me just a second. I think I lost my ability to take control of the screen.
You can share your own if you have that PowerPoint. There you go. Yep.
There we go. Now it's back and available. So yes, thanks to Vince, AOBG. As Vince said, we've been working a number of years. I'm going to make this quick. I'm going to run through 3 products that I think pair well with ACA and the U60. I'll say U65 and the MedSup, Med Advantage opportunities. Like Vince said, we've been working with them for a number of years. I want to take a real quick time just to thank the folks at AOBG. Awesome organization, great people organization. Vince, Dee, Kenny, Denise, Witt, Jamie, Sarah times 2. Just an unbelievable organization and people to work with. I can't thank them enough for their partnership and just continued dedication in working with Washington National, and specifically me. Just a great partnership. 3 products that we're going to talk about real quick are our critical illness, our hospital indemnity, and then our accident plan. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the perks of working with Washington National. So Active Care is our 2nd generation critical illness plan, 18 to 85 on the issue ages. Bear with me just a second.
Well, yeah, it looks like we've got some technical situation there.
There we go. It's starting to vibe with me now. So 18 to 85 on the issue ages. Coverage is guaranteed renewable for life. Pairs perfectly with that ACA benefit at the $10,000 benefit level, making it price friendly for everybody. No, you can see on the screen there, no MIBs, PHIs, medical tests. It's a no family history questions. It is a simplified issue application that pays lump sum benefits anywhere from $5 to $100,000 in $10,000 increments for cancer, heart and stroke, critical conditions. I'll go through the whole plan and then I'll tell you how we train the folks that we work with in the ACA space, kind of how to make this product, one, affordable, and two, just a perfect pair with ACA plans. 4 coverage options: individual and spouse, single parent, and then a family. Choose your plan: cancer only, heart and stroke only, or a combination of those 2 plans. I'll say this: in order to get this policy issued, you have to write the product as, you have to include cancer or heart and stroke or a combination of the both. So those 2 benefits are the base plan: cancer, heart, and stroke. The lump sum, like I said, 5 to 100,000. There's some upgrades that everything else outside of the cancer or heart and stroke plan can be sold as upgrades or riders. Critical conditions, we have an accident rider, hospital indemnity, radiation and chemo, and then our claim to fame is return of premium, which we'll talk about. The cancer benefit, like I said, lump sum benefit that's payable on diagnosis of an internal cancer. It also pays a reduced benefit for a localized or carcinoma in situ, pays a $300 benefit for skin cancer. Our annual care benefit provides a $75 benefit for the physical if you're under the care of a oncologist or hematologist. It also pays $300 per day for inpatient hospitalization. We also have a recurrence benefit that builds up when the initial benefit is paid out. That clock starts, and you can see the schedule at the bottom. In year 1, it builds back a benefit of 10%. After 5 years, it has a 50% benefit. So if you have a $20,000 lump sum cancer plan that's paid out the $20,000 in 5 years, it is going to replenish up to a $10,000 benefit. Radiation and chemotherapy upgrades, very affordable on this. $200 per day on radiation. Injected chemotherapy is $200 a day, and then the oral chemotherapy is $300 a month. And those are the benefits that are payable in addition to any other benefits on the policy, plus the lump sum amount. Underwriting on the cancer plan, simple. Like I said, simplified issue. Yes answers are a knockout for that specific insured. There is a prescription check for folks that are 65 or older in the senior market or applying for 60K in coverage or more. I always say to our trainees when we're training on this product, keep it under 60 grand and it's simplified. No issues. No additional questions needed for radiation and chemo. If they qualify for cancer, they qualify for the rider, and then no height and weight chart for the cancer coverage. I'm 6'3". I can weigh, like I said, on the next one, we'll talk about the height and weight chart. Very liberal on the heart and stroke. I can weigh up to 390 pounds on that. So, but cancer coverage, you see the underwriting. Again, simplified issue. 3 questions are a no. That means the application's a go. That's the cancer portion. Remember, I talked about that being one of the base components of the plan. The other base component of the plan is the heart and stroke benefit. Pays out a lump sum benefit for a heart attack or a stroke. Again, 5 to 100,000 in lump sum benefits. Pays a reduced benefit for not a full-blown heart attack or full-blown stroke, but coronary artery bypass, angioplasty, stents, mini strokes. You see the TIAs down there at the bottom. They pay a reduced benefit of 50 to 25% on those. Same with the heart and stroke as on the cancer. If they're on the under the care of a physician for a heart attack or stroke, there's a $75 wellness benefit that is paid out $300 per day for a hospital stay, and then the recurrence benefit is the same. Once the heart attack or the stroke is diagnosed, 5 years, and there's a 50% benefit for both the heart attack and stroke benefit. Underwriting on the heart and stroke, it's a 5-year look back on I should say 5-year look back on a previous heart attack or stroke. There's also a blood pressure reading of anything that's over 150 over 90 in the last 6 months. And I'll specify that means a MIB documented blood pressure reading. That doesn't mean sticking your arm in the cuff at Walgreens or a home blood pressure monitor. That's an MIB documented blood pressure reading of north of 150 over 90. Height and weight chart, like I said, extremely liberal. I'm 6'3". I can weigh 390 pounds to get coverage for the heart and stroke portion of active care. In addition, there are no diabetes questions on the heart and stroke portion of this product. That bears repeating. There are no diabetes questions on the heart and stroke portion of this product. That is not the norm in the industry, so I at least wanted to point that out. Remember, those two benefit levels are the base components of the plan. Heart and stroke and cancer, everything we talk about from here on out on active care is considered a rider. Third bucket of money for lump sum coverage is, again, 5 to 100,000. We cover a couple of different critical conditions at full benefit: blindness, paralysis, coma, and then major organ transplants. As soon as you're on the transplant list, or I should say, as soon as the policyholder's on the transplant list, they can get 50% of the benefit up front, and then the balance is paid upon the transplant surgery. Underwriting on this does kick up a little bit of more questions. You can see some additional critical conditions benefit at a reduced benefit for diabetic amputations, Alzheimer's disease, deafness, and end-stage renal failure. Provides a again hospital stay benefit for $300 per day of daily confinement, up to 3 days, limited to the 15,000 there that you see on the screen. 5-year look back, no height and weight chart, and again, you have to qualify for either cancer base or heart and stroke base to add this rider. It's the accident plan. So this is another rider. For about $9 a month, you can have an accidental death and dismemberment policy that pays out $50,000 to the policyholder, or $25,000 for kids. It provides injury benefits anywhere from $100 to $1,200 for fractures, dislocations, lacerations, etc. Surgical benefits up to $5,000 for ligaments, joint replacement, and more. In addition, $250 benefit, ER benefit, just for seeking treatment in an ER or urgent care facility. Again, no underwriting on this. This is a guaranteed issue for, again, like I say, for a single individual, it's about $9 a month, and for a family, it's less than $20 for the rider. Again, I think that top bullet point there, the accidental death and dismemberment benefit of $50,000 for the policyholder, is key. Last rider that I'll talk about on this is the hospital indemnity portion. It pays for hospital and ICU stays. You can see 200 or 400, 3 days of hospital confinement, covers a physician's benefit per insured at $75 a year, payable to outpatient surgeries, $200 per insured, and it covers pregnancy 24 months after the effective date of the product. Underwriting on the hospital upgrade will kick in additional underwriting questions, and diabetes does become a factor on active care. We train this product to be sold in the ACA market to be a combo plan of the cancer or the heart and stroke, or a standalone based on their underwriting history or their medical history. So standalone heart, standalone cancer, or a combination of the both, and the last rider that I spoke of, the accident. So cancer, heart and stroke, accident. That is a simple, affordable coverage that will couple with ACA plans and at least take the sting out of that anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 on the out-of-pocket coverage or the or copays.
Active Care has always been my favorite product, David. I absolutely love the customization within it, and how you can, set this up as a cancer policy for people that may have had some heart issues or some of those indicators in their health that maybe they wouldn't be able to get a heart and stroke policy, or vice versa if they've had cancer. The heart and stroke policy doesn't have those cancer questions on it, so it's very moldable to the customer situation. And I absolutely love that, especially as it pertains to the ACA. Can you position this product before we move on to your other products, and how you think this would fit, or how agents should kind of move forward with positioning?
Yeah, I think literally you just talked about it, and what you see right there on the screen. Real quick, there's a 5-year look back on cancer and a 5-year look back on heart and stroke. So if it's a cancer survivor, or if it's a heart attack or stroke survivor, as long as they're 5 years of the diagnosis free, they qualify for coverage. So especially for the cancer survivor, it seems like a no-brainer. So the position on this is exactly what you see in front of you. And if you don't have the screens, my apologies on not updating the exact dollar amounts, but you get it. Up to $10,000 out of pocket on a deductible on the ACA plans. I don't know many people that have the 10 grand in savings or the $9,800 in savings if there is a catastrophic illness.
Exactly.
This plan eliminates the worry. It allows the policyholder and their family to focus on recovery, surgery and recovery. That's why you can, like Vince said, you can customize this plan for exactly what they need. If they need a $30,000 benefit and can afford a $30,000 benefit, you want to position that. If it's a $5,000 benefit that they need, that they can afford, then it's a $5,000 benefit. Another thing that I think is key with active care, if you have that benefit, it puts you in control of your treatment. You're not relegated to going to the closest. If you live like I do in rural Indiana and you want to go somewhere to a cancer center treatment, to an MD Anderson, to insert specialization hospital here, it gives you the ability to do that. You're not stuck at a local small community hospital for a major treatment regimen. So yeah, I think it's just a good, this represents, I'll say this, out of all of our sales in the ACA market that we partner with folks that are selling ACA, active care represents 87% of our total sales in that market.
That's huge.
Yeah. So again, just to review on active care, it covers 17 critical illnesses with the heart and stroke, the cancer, and then the critical conditions, accidents, customizable. It's an individual plan that pairs well with the ACA, simplified underwriting, and then return of premium. I'll cover that real quickly. If you tag on the return of premium, it's about a 40% load. It's about a 40% premium load. But as long as there are no claims on the policy, you get 100% of your premiums back after a 15-year period. If there are claims on the policy, we'll still pay the premiums back less the claims. So it's a nice it's a nice feature to have on these policies. You have the cancer coverage if you need it. If you don't, you get your money back.
Love that. We have some technical problems on the back end we're working through real quick, David. So I'm just gonna, in this little time slot here, let all of our agents know that they have access to Washington National on AOBG's platform, on our enrollment platform, any 123. We have Washington National products that David's going over today. And we also have a separate contract with Washington National. If anybody is interested in reaching out to us about this Washington National contract, please do so after this call. We'd love to talk to you more about it. I think, Whit, we've gotten enough time here. Look at that. And we're on to the accident insurance part. Here you go.
How about that? Thanks, Whit. Thanks, Vince. So this is our, the accident Assure product is our 4th generation accident plan. Again, real simple. I think the positioning on this is for active families or parents that have kids in sports, parents that have younger kids that are active, or just middle-aged folks like me that are losing their athleticism, still playing sports, but are just straight out clumsy. And that's, I mean, I've used my accident plan doggone probably, I think 10 plus times in the last 3 to 4 years, just on an ER visit, et cetera, blown out ankle, playing basketball, et cetera. So again, good product, good affordable product for pairing with ACA plans, especially in that family arena. So we'll jump into the accident insurance. Talks about our product portfolio. We'll scroll through that. Bear with me. We've got 4 plan levels, 34 benefit categories, and a return of premium on this plan as well. I don't promote the return of premium on accident because more often than not, you're going to benefit out on these plans. So it doesn't really make sense to add return of premium to our accident plan. So we talk about the why buy, all of the accidents, 1 in 5 of them. I think that middle key right there, 1 in 5 Americans receive medical attention for non-fatal injuries annually. That in and of itself. In addition, this product is 18 to 75 on the issue ages. So again, it covers that U65 and it covers the potential senior market folks that may need this as well. Just some more why buy statistics, out of pocket dollars that accidents are responsible for. Simple, why sell? No MIBs. Basically, this is a guaranteed issue product. We have usually a 24-hour process. Commissions are paid weekly on our products as well. So this is an easy, simple sell to, again, that family dynamic. 4 base plans. We talked about 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the levels. Again, this is an E1, 2, 3 available product. The 4 plan levels pay for, just like the rider on active care, for dismemberments, for broken bones, fractures, lacerations, etc. This will pay up to $4,800. You see there on the screen for dislocations, fractures. The benefits are also available for surgery, burns, paralysis, dental work, concussion, and non-medically induced coma. Some additional benefits for pre-treatment or during treatment type stuff. There's inpatient hospitalization. Again, the 4 levels. You see that 250, 500, 750, or 1,000 based on the level that you choose, 1, 2, 3, or 4. ICU confinement, ER benefit, ambulance, ground or air, and a physician's office benefit plus medical imaging that includes x-rays. Some new benefits that weren't on our third generation but are included on this are hospital admission lump sums, ICU, rehab, x-rays, like I said, and pain management, epidurals, etc. Got 2 riders on this. The physician's office benefit rider, let me just say that's a no-brainer. Included on every sale that you have. For an individual, it's $1 a month. For a family, it's like $1.90 a month. And essentially that just says if there's no injury and benefit payable, we're going to pay you $200 for going to the doctor's office. If there is a benefit payable, we're going to pay you $50 just for having this on your policy. So that can cover the cost of the benefit there, just in the rider. So again, wellness screening rider, 22 wellness screenings per covered individual, has a 30-day waiting period. A lot of that is just your regular PSA tests for men, breast cancer screenings, etc. for women. And there's the example of the physician's office benefit rider. Just wanted to use that, wanted to show that on the screen real quick. Talks about the arm pain, no benefit. It's a $50 benefit for the physician's office visit, and then another $200 for the physician's office benefit rider. Below there, you can see they still pay out, Washington National still pay out the $50 for carrying the rider and the other benefits in addition to. Talked about the return of premium. Don't really position it on this product. Who's eligible? Individual, same thing that we talked about with active care, 4 coverage options. Issue ages 18 to 75. Kids are covered up to 26 as long as they're a dependent. Issue limits, again, the only limit on this is up to $1,000 of hospital confinement for ACA positioning sales. And again, simple product, injury, accident, death and dismemberment benefit for very inexpensive. Level 1 for an individual is about $12 a month. Level 4 for an individual is about $30 a month. As you can see, individual 34, level 1 there for an individual is $12 and change. Won't talk about stacking, don't have to worry about that. 4 plan levels, as this is the accident insurance product. Again, just in review, 4 plan levels, 34 benefit categories, disability benefits, return of premium, and that's really, like I said, the kicker there, I think, is the amount of benefits for injuries, and then the accidental death and dismemberment as well.
You got to have products that are outside of market. You've got to have products that are available to help these consumers with those high pocket costs. And Washington National has a really good fit here. They're super affordable. They carry a ton of value with them. This next plan, especially aside from the active care, is probably on the top of my list when I'm talking to my clients. I'm so excited to get to this next one too.
I appreciate that, Vince. Yeah, I mean, I always try to relate personal experiences. I mean, the accident plan, I've had, like I said, 10 times at least in the last 3 years. This past February, this hospital indemnity plan came through huge. Woke up on a lovely February winter morning in sunny, balmy Indiana during February, and had an appendix attack. And that was Friday morning. I was in the hospital. By Friday afternoon, I was having surgery. I worked for an insurance company. You would think, oh, that should be easy peasy as far as paying the bill. No. Again, February. So no, I had not met any deductibles. $8,500 was my out of pocket. So this hospital indemnity plan was a huge benefit for me and the family. So let's jump into it. Hospital indemnity. This is our 3rd generation hospital indemnity plan. Okay, there we go. Well, let's just get into the benefits. We can skip all of the hullabaloo and let's just talk about the benefits. So the base policy is a hospital confinement lump sum benefit. You choose the benefit anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, and that's a one payable benefit per calendar year. It also pays a daily hospital confinement or observation room benefit. That's $100 a day up to 1 year of confinement. And then the waiver of premium, again, these three are base benefits. So the waiver of premium just says if you're confined to the hospital for more than 30 consecutive days, they'll waive the premium for the next 12-month period. All right. Optional riders on this plan. You can also kick up the daily benefit or the daily hospital confinement benefit up to, again, 4 levels, 1, 2, 3, or 4, 100, 200, 300, 400. Same thing, payable per day up to 365 days a year. Physician's office benefit, again, $25 a day, gives for includes telemedicine, appointments for sickness, office exams, etc., lab test or x-rays, imaging exams, CT scans, CAT scans, MRIs, EEGs, etc., and then diagnostic exams for colonoscopies, endoscopies, etc. Good benefit. I don't put a whole lot in the training on the riders. What this does, especially when you're talking about affordability to your clients, is that base policy benefit of the $1,000 to $10,000. We designed this plan specifically for the ACA and the MedSup markets, 18 to 75 on the issue ages, simplified underwriting so you know whether they qualify for coverage when you're going through the application, and presenting this simplified in, again, pairing with an ACA plan where the out-of-pocket expense is up to $10,000.
Yeah, that's huge.
And I think that may be it on hospital indemnity.
Well, it's a simple product, but it doesn't mean that the benefits aren't large and in charge, because they are.
Absolutely. And I was just going to say, Vince, just a couple of wrap ups at the end of this. We've gone through our 3 products. Like Vince said, they're available on the E123 platform. So there's a simple option for the combined billing on this. We pay weekly commissions for $125,000 in net annualized premium. You qualify for our sales celebration trip. And this year we're going to the Grand Hyatt Mar Baja in the Bahamas. And this is one of our better trips that we have rolled out in February. Perfect timing, February 23rd through the 27th at the Grand Hyatt Baja Mar in the Bahamas. Again, for anybody that gets appointed with Washington National, the only qualification on this is have your passport and sell $125,000 in net annualized premium with Washington National. I cannot tell you how many of our agency partners use open enrollment as the enrollment, as basically to qualify for a family vacation. It's not just you and your partner. We create this. I think Vince and the crew can speak to this of how we roll out our sales convention. It's a first-class operation, and we try to make it a family atmosphere. So any questions that you have, again, direct them through Vince. If you guys want to get hooked up for trainings or further product questions, or just a higher level detailed review on these products, let Vince know and we'll schedule a training. I've got a good team of 5 folks that work hard to earn your business and make sure you're educated on all things Washington National.
Yeah, thanks, David. And I can attest, and the team over here was all giggling and looking at me and smiling about all the wonderful times that we have at the Washington National Sales Event. You guys put on a great show, and pay a ton of respect to the selling agents that are doing the work on the back end to get those Washington National products sold. So you guys do a stellar job, and we love our partnership. Thank you again for being here today as we finish and near the finish line here. But before we move on, our next speaker, just a reminder that we're going to be having a roundtable discussion with our speakers today that you can participate in. So if you have questions, please present them by using the Q&A function within the Teams app that you have here in front of you. And if we cannot get to your question for whatever reason, we will present them to our speakers and get those answers to you after the event concludes. Our roundtable will include Kenny West, Mike Cardoso, David Steffen, William Merton, and Ross Baker. And I spoiled the surprise. Our next speaker, Ross Baker, has been working in the ACA space since 2013, both as a broker rep for various technology companies and as an independent agent. He is currently a senior agency account manager at Health Sherpa, where he helps many of the largest FMOs in the country manage their downlines and large books of business on Health Sherpa's EDE platform. Ross's depth of knowledge around the Health Sherpa and the ACA and the ever-changing regulation landscape make him a critical resource to the accounts he manages, and we can all attest to that. We all know and love him, and if you don't know him, get to know him. He's a good guy to know. I'm sure we'll gain a ton of insight from what he will be presenting for us today. So without further ado, our final speaker of the day, Ross Baker. If you can unmute your mic, sir, we would appreciate that, and we could get you on your way, sir.
All right, sounds great. Thanks so much for having me, Vince, and the AOBG team. Great to work with all of you, and great to see everybody on this call today. Thanks for taking time out of your busy days. I know we're all gearing up for OEP, so really appreciate you taking a few minutes to get up to speed, hear what we've been working on over the past 6 to 9 months over here at Health Sherpa, and hopefully these tools will be valuable to you as we start to get into renewal season, start looking at 2026 rates, and start actually writing business for plan year 2026. All right, I am going to figure out how to share my screen. There we go. That's what I want.
Yeah, I think either take control at the top. You should be able to.
Boom.
There you go. Perfect.
All right. So preparing for plan year 2026 open enrollment. Like Vince mentioned in my nicely ChatGPT written bio, I have been in the ACA since 2013. And, aside from that first year, this has probably been one of the wildest lead ups into the open enrollment season that I've been a part of. So a bit about myself. I'm a senior agency account manager here at Health Sherpa. I've been with Health Sherpa for about 3 years. I've been a Health Sherpa user for over 10 years. I mainly work with top FMOs in the ACA space and their downline distribution partners. Starting to work a bit more with carrier sales representatives and have some cross functionality there as well to make sure everybody is aligned for what they need in the ACA. We also have an agency success team. This is kind of an extension of me and the other account managers here at Health Sherpa. Basically, their role is to support you all in anything you need that's related to the agency business. We do have like Health Sherpa agent support that's excellent with individual agent items, account stuff, things like that. Specific application questions they are excellent at, but more so managing your business from an agency level. That's what this agency success team is designed to help with. We've got our emails here that we'll send out when AOBG distributes and shares the deck here. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about the program integrity rules, the status of those rules, and what that means for your business as we're moving into OEP. We'll talk about the focus on OEP 2026, what kind of the priorities are looking to be for agencies, especially agencies that have existing ACA books of business and have to deal with a lot of renewals. Then did you want to do Q&A now or wait till the roundtable there, Vince?
We'll have a separate Q&A for you. If we do have questions that come
Gotcha.
up, then I'll modify. But if not, we'll do it in the roundtable.
Sounds perfect. And then we'll gloss over some additional resources that are more there for when we send this deck out. You'll have access to everything. All right. So I think probably for the most part, knowing AOBG and the agencies they work with, most people on this call are likely familiar with CMS's final rule on the marketplace program integrity and affordability rules. So that came out, the draft rule came out, I believe, in March or April, finalized in June, and then everybody kind of was a little nervous because the rules were pretty strict. But then all of these rules actually were paused based on a August 22nd court determination in the state of Maryland that basically said to CMS, hey, you actually can't implement these rules. It's overstepping your authority, and you don't have the authority to implement these rules. Where that goes, where that ends up, nobody knows. But since we're 2 weeks away from OEP kickoff, we find it's highly unlikely anything is going to change, and the majority of these rules that were stayed are going to remain on pause. So just a quick recap here of what's changed. 8/25, we saw the end of the 150% FPL SEP. That is shut down now currently. It will remain shut down. That was not in this lawsuit that got all these other things paused. They took it out because the big beautiful bill ended that at the end of this plan year anyway, so it was kind of irrelevant to sue to keep that open, because the big beautiful bill is law, not regulatory guidance like the program integrity final rule was. DACA recipients are no longer eligible for marketplace coverage or assistance. This was another one that was codified in the big beautiful bill, so they didn't really see any reason for fighting it for a couple months. And then DMIs generated when tax data is unavailable. That actually is going to be happening, and really has always happened for the most part. If you're submitting an application and there's data mismatching or data can't be found from Social Security Administration, IRS, Department of Homeland Security, oftentimes it's going to flag a DMI. If there's no tax data, possibly somebody didn't file their taxes, or they're filing under somebody else's social that's not on the application, that is always going to generate a DMI that will then need to be resolved within that 90-day window, or they're going to lose access to their premium tax credits. Important here, what has been paused and currently is not going to be implemented for this OEP is going to be additional DMI circumstances for different income variances. This was essentially what the rule would have done is a lot of people in that 100% of the FPL to up to 150% area would have been flagged a lot more frequently for DMIs based on their income and them being right on the threshold of Medicaid and ACA eligibility. So that, it likely reality would have been there would have been way more income DMIs that need to be resolved in that 90-day window. That's been paused currently. So we're just going to have to deal with kind of the standard DMIs. Those are things when like somebody's income varies, like I believe it's 40 or 50% year over year. So somebody going from 20,000 last year, now all of a sudden they're making 30,000, that's likely going to flag an income DMI every time. The SEP pre-enrollment verification. So actually the loss of coverage, SEP or SVI, did go back into effect in June. That has actually always been a rule. It just hadn't been enforced during the Biden administration. The final program integrity rules here were going to bring back SEP pre-enrollment verification for other SCPs, such as I believe it was moving, marriage or divorce, and a couple others. Medicaid denial and loss of coverage is back already. All of those additional reasons, except for loss of coverage, have been paused. So when we get into next year's SEP on January 16th, the only documentation that you'll need to provide, the only SEP you'll need to provide documentation for will be that loss of coverage SVI. The big one here was the $5 premium on $0 passive renewals. Now, depending what happens with the expanded premium tax credits, which we don't really know right now, that's one of the core reasons why the entire federal government is shut down. The expanded premium tax credits are set to expire at the end of this plan year. That means that pretty much everybody on $0 silver plans, when their plan renews, it's not going to be a $0 passive renewal anyway. They're going to have a net premium. What this rule would have done would have said anyone, say on a bronze $0 plan, that their passive renewal will be a net $0 plan again. That would have bumped up their net premium to $5 and forced all of your agents and agencies to actively renew those members and clients. That luckily has been paused. That would have created a lot of headache. I do want to highlight that just because this has paused, there still needs to be a large focus on active renewals, mainly due to premium fluctuations in carrier rates. Like I said, right now we're playing as if the expanded tax credits are going away and not coming back. They may come to a resolution at some time in the next 2.5 months. But right now we're going to play like there's no expanded tax credits. There's going to be really no $0 silver plans. And because of that, you're going to have a lot of clients that are going to end up with net premiums. And even on the bronze market, there's a lot of the big national carriers that have seen significant rate increases in various markets, especially major markets, that may no longer be $0 plans as well. So you're really going to want to know what your clients are in for as we're going into OEP. And the good news is we've got some tools we'll cover in a bit here to show you and prepare you for that. Subsidy ineligible after 1 year, failure to file and reconcile. That was paused. It's still the 2 years. So if somebody, if you're doing an app and somebody says they're not eligible because they failed to file, that's still the 2-year check. So they would have to have missed doing their income taxes for tax year 2023 and tax year 2024. And then the past due premiums can be required to effectuate. That has been paused as well. That would be if you wrote somebody for 1/1/26 on a Oscar plan and they had been on Oscar last year and never paid their premium, and then the plan lapsed, they would have to resolve that previously due premium before they could be on this new plan. That's actually been paused. So it's just going to be kind of the standard writing somebody and their premium is their premium. Now, this year we will have the full OEP period from November 1st to January 15th next year, the shorter OEP as of now is going to be going into effect. So, make sure we're taking advantage of that extra 30 days that we have this year. So as we talk about going into OEP, really everything we're looking at here is focused around these kind of three core necessities for your business. Understanding your book, that's where I talked about, what is this client's current plan? What are they rolling over to if I let them passively renew? Figuring out all the different buckets and scenarios that your client book of business is in and how to handle them within your agency. We've created some tools like Agency Insights to give you a high level overview of your book of business, as well as down to the individual level with updated carrier policy status. Real quick, I guess we'll touch on that later. Keeping clients covered, prioritize retention, promote active renewals to avoid drop-off and loss of coverage. This is huge. A lot of the carriers this year are strategically looking to retain the existing book of business and not necessarily grow it too much. They fear a lot of adverse selection coming into new business this year and want to try to avoid that where possible. So, focusing on active renewals, making sure that not only are people renewing, but you're not going to let, 1,000 clients renew and then have them all drop off the books in the first few months of the year because they all owe $50 in premium that nobody ever told them about, or they all have, DMIs or something along those lines, or they're on carriers that no longer work for them because carrier left the market. All right, and then maximize productivity. This is really related to some of the Health Sherpa tools we'll cover here in a second, but basically we want to help you be as efficient as possible writing business through the core OE period for 1/1 effectives, making sure you're doing your pre-renewal outreach via our bulk email and intake form, getting documents from clients to resolve DMIs prior to the 90-day deadline, well prior to resolving them as quickly as possible. And then we've got some new tools to help you export call lists for specific reasons in the platform. But yeah, the main theme here, and this was really the theme with all of the program integrity rules from CMS. The main theme is client engagement and active renewals. So there's going to be limited $0 plan selection due to EAPTCs going away. No more bronze to silver auto enrollment. That's actually probably a good thing this year. Your bronze plans are not going to passively roll over to silver plans automatically if people are CSR eligible. That's actually going to help agencies out quite a bit. And then the expanded tax credits are going to have more people showing a net premium due. They're going to get that bill, end of December, early January, and say, what's going on here? I haven't paid for insurance for the past 3-4 years, maybe. And they're going to be really confused. And that's where you want to create various touch points from, hopefully from a month or so ago to now to into OEP to help explain what's going on. Leverage some of the national news media that's out there to say, hey, this is what's holding up the government right now. As it sits, this is what your plan's going to look like. Contact your congressperson if you want your plan to go back to zero, things along those lines. And then just with the market dynamics, a lot of rate increases across the board. Again, a lot of the carriers are concerned with potential for lower new enrollments is leading to an adverse selection of a lot of the high cost members moving around to different plans. All right, so as we get into the know your book aspect here, this is really a reporting feature that we've built to help understand different follow-up statuses as defined by action needed, action recommended, no action needed, and then the specific reasons for those follow-up statuses. So one example here that's probably everybody's going to have some of in their book of business. Action needed is going to be an example of, say, a carrier is exiting the market. So if you've got your Aetna book of business, you're going to want to at least look at that renewal and see which plan is going to passively renew into. It's going to be the lowest cost, same metal tier, same network type plan. So if it was a Aetna EPO, it's going to roll, Aetna EPO bronze, it's going to roll over to the lowest cost EPO bronze plan in that market this year. Now, why that's important, that may be a network that doesn't work for the client. That may be a carrier that doesn't pay commissions. It may be a carrier you're not appointed with. So those are definitely high priority clients and renewals that you want to make sure you're focusing on once window shopping opens and you're able to see what their renewal plan, their passive renewal plan would be. We've also created this renewals tab designed to help individual agents see their entire book of business, understand who should be top priority, some details over, what their crosswalk looks like. Their crosswalk is kind of another term for passive renewals. So basically, if you don't touch Jane Doe here, she's just going to roll over into the same plan. Now, if down bottom here, we've got, these last two, they're going to roll over into a completely new carrier. Those are probably going to be action needed. Same thing with these folks, action needed. They're not going to passively renew for various reasons. Those are definitely ones you want to focus on first. All right, so the Premier Partner Data. For those of you that are in Health Sherpa on a daily, weekly basis, you've probably seen this little toggle we've created. So we've got CMS data. This has always been what's fed the data on this plan card section of the client's page. And basically, one of the common pain points is this CMS data was only refreshed when an agent would actually click into a client record or click the blue refresh text on the client table. If you wrote somebody in January and didn't touch that policy, it may not be refreshed for months. Now, Health Sherpa actually does about 3 bulk refreshes a year, 1 post OEP, 1 around July, and then 1 pre-OEP. Which will help keep that data updated, but it's still fairly stale data. What this Premier Partner Data is we actually have an internal carrier sales team, which is, one of the ways we fund Health Sherpas is we sell technology solutions to carriers to allow agents and agencies to use our platform for free. We went out to the carriers and said, hey, we've got this problem. Not just Health Sherpa, but also all of your distribution partners, which are also their top distribution partners, have this big problem of stale data from CMS. And CMS doesn't send this data back automatically. And we figured out this solution where we can get a daily data feed directly from the carrier into Health Sherpa. Now, right now, it's on about, I think, 8 smaller carriers. We are launching with Oscar as our first large national carrier this, I believe this week or next. And then we have a significant amount of other large national carriers queued up to have this implemented by January, when it really becomes important to have this updated data. I think by January, we should have about 77% of the market covered, with carriers that have a direct integration that are going to have their policy status and payment status updated on a daily basis, so that you won't have to go in and constantly refresh all your clients. Okay, so the quick search and claim, this is really a new feature. So when we look at all of these features around renewals, renewal risks, follow-up status, follow-up reasons, whether action needed, action recommended, unknown, kind of the key thing is, in order to understand your full book of business, you have to have the client's 2025 application in your Health Sherpa account. And so if you relied heavily on passive renewals last year and you have a big book of business, you may have a bunch of people that you're getting paid on ultimately that are in your book of business with the carriers, but maybe they're not in your Health Sherpa. And that's what this search and claim follow-up status is designed to help you identify. It's going to say, hey, this person was in your book of business for 2024, and they're not in your book of business for 2025. You want to go and search and claim that application, assuming you have all the valid consent. You may want to even touch base with the client first, but it's designed to flag, hey, you don't have the 2025 app in here. You've had this client's application in here previously. You should go pull it in so we can tell you what their renewal is going to look like, help you prioritize your entire book of business and determine, if you need to actively renew. Because a number of folks that have been, especially those that have passively renewed for 3, 4, 5 years, they may not be passively renewing this year. And also they may have a premium for the first time in a few years, and that's going to need to be explained to them. They're probably going to want to know what's going on. All right. Keeping clients covered. Again, this is really around how to resolve issues, get ahead of all of the DMIs, get ahead of renewals, all these things to really retain as much of your book of business and hopefully have some time to focus on new sales as well. So we've created this client follow-ups tab. You've probably seen it in your account. This, if you look to the right, you've got renewals, at-risk AOR, documents due, EDE permission lost, invalid action. We've kind of taken all of these tabs and additional client follow-up reasons and dump them into this client follow-ups due. And this is really designed to be essentially a list of clients that need attention for you that you can prioritize based on their different needs. So for example, action needed, they need to verify their income. They're going to have a deadline, and that's pretty basic. You need to send out the link to have them send documents and get that income verified. This one's more complex, where it's payment due, verify citizenship, and then they may need to click the resume link if you sent the resume link to them or you completed a 3-way call. And really, there's a couple things here you can drill down on this. So like one way to do it is focus. Another great example is all of those Aetna folks that have, and there are other carriers leaving the market as well in the entirety, as well as specific states or regions. So any carrier change is going to be a significant disruption to that client, right? And so you can drill down and focus on the follow-up that identifies a carrier change, and you can actually export this as a call list. So if you want to, as an agency manager or owner, see, okay, these are all the people that their carrier is going to change if we let them passively renew. let's download this list, put it in our dialer, and call all of them and try to engage them, and tell them what's going on, what their options are, and who to contact in order to renew. This individual follow-up detail, so because we've kind of consolidated all these action items as follow-ups, when you're viewing the client page now, you're going to see some of these additional ones as well. Maybe the $0 premium, coverage at risk, because it's possibly not going to be a $0 premium. We're going to have a few different tweaks to these reasons as we move into OEP here. Things like APTC reconciliation will be identified, and you'll have more details right at the top of your client page there. Okay, Turbo Renew. So a lot of you that have done active renewals on the platform, you'll notice that when you go through and do an active renewal, you go into the application, and I think last year the primary contact section, possibly the household section, was summarized like we see here. And you were able to just view all of the primary contact info, skip to the household section, view all that, but then you would go into individual pages for the rest of the application. What our newest version of Turbo Renew is designed to do is just skip through all of these sections until you get to the finalize section, where you'll have to go through each page of the attestations to read to the client. But all of these first 5 sections should be summarized like this, so you can go section by section. Hopefully it saves you, 30 seconds to 60 seconds per app, which is pretty significant when you're doing hundreds or thousands of apps during OEP.
Heck yeah, it is. It's great.
Woo! All right. So most of you have probably seen this, the bulk renewal email. So essentially, this is the ability to bulk email your client list. If you're not familiar with email marketing, I highly, highly recommend either taking a course, watching a YouTube video. There's a couple rules to go by. Number one, always segment your send list. You want to segment pretty small buckets. And what I mean by that is, instead of sending one email to everybody whose carrier is leaving the market, you may send a specific email to all your Aetna clients in the state of Texas to let them know Aetna is leaving the market, and you want to present a couple options to them. The reason for that is when you start emailing thousands or tens of thousands of people at a time, that's when people can get angry or things can go really bad. And always send a test email. We have the test email option available as well. Always send a test email. Those are just kind of email marketing best practices. But the purpose of this is to allow you to filter down on your client list on the table there, select bulk email, and then send a bulk email to all these people. We've got some personalization tokens. You can actually, once window shopping opens, you can include a link for them to do the renewal themselves. Although I know a lot of agents don't really want the consumer trying to go through the application themselves, because more often than not, they're going to mess something up. What you can also include is our intake form, which is basically a form designed to have the consumer provide you specific changes to their household situation, their contact information, anything along those lines. Then we'll have the renewal plan comparison. We're working to get this live right now in Georgia, where you're going to see their 2025 plan, and then you're going to see their passive renewal plan for 2026. Now, keep in mind, this passive renewal is going to be based off their 2025 application right now, until you either edit the quoting demographics or go in and actually edit the application. So it may be accurate unless their household details have changed. But the goal here is to say, give the agent a quick snapshot. Okay, you're on this. If we do nothing, you go to this. Do we want to quickly actively renew you into this plan and get it over with? Or do you want to go and shop for other plans and see what's available in the marketplace this year? All right, so maximizing productivity, that's where this consumer intake form comes in. This can be found as an individual link on your client table in the drop down, where you just send out this link to, single clients at a time, or you can add a link to this intake form into that bulk email feature that we just showed you. Again, it's really, there's no PII or PHI in this. It's designed to engage your client and have them tell you what's going on in their household. Has things changed? If they need documents, upload documents, anything along those lines. You can customize that bulk email to, include your phone number, something along those lines, to make sure that they're getting in touch with you directly as well. Although most of your phone number and agency information will be pulled into the signature automatically. All right, and so one thing that we're really excited about is when your clients complete this intake form and it's returned back into your Health Sherpa account, you're going to be able to see that completed intake form when you're doing the application. It's going to be in a side pop-up here. So you can see, okay, I'm going through doing the app. Looks like their household income has changed a little. We're going to update that, go through and do everything. So you've got it right in front of you. You can copy and paste. You don't have to, juggle multiple windows or tabs and flip back and forth.
Man, that's excellent.
Uploading documents early and easily. Again, this was really designed with the additional DMIs that kind of got a pause there, but it's still going to be a big challenge. I know a lot of folks kind of focus on DMI resolution post OEP, but if it takes one extra click to do it right after you submit the app, while you're on with a client, you can submit the application. You're going to see right away, oh, hey, you've got a DMI for income, or you've got a DMI to verify your immigration status. I'm going to send you an email real quick and send me one of these documents that proves your income, something along those lines. That puts it on the client, gets it off your hands, and then if they don't do it, you're still going to come back in late January, February to touch everybody and get everything verified. But get who you can while you're here and have them on the phone. Collecting consent early. I know most of you are call centers leveraging recorded lines for the most part. Basically, the Health Sherpa consent tool can be leveraged now outside of the application process. So you can collect a new consent right from scratch. You can send that off via text or email and then begin the application from there. And then we still also have our client review on the final page of the application, where you can text or email that client directly. One thing that I did not cover here, I'm just going to scroll down because I think it's on this. This doesn't seem with the AOBG group, this isn't really a big thing. It's more so for a lot of Spanish speakers and field agents, but the double redirect, I think maybe you use this sometimes if there's an error on an application, or there's just something wrong with the app, you can't figure it out on EDE. The fail-safe has always kind of been go through this classic direct enrollment or double redirect pathway where you click the healthcare.gov redirect. For reasons unbeknownst to me, CMS is sunsetting this, and this will no longer be available. So you will have to do everything on Health Sherpa EDE, we've been working with our product team to make sure, as many errors are resolvable. Our support team is ready to help you resolve errors if you hit issues on the EDE application. Worst case scenario, if there's something that you just have to do outside of EDE, there's the three-way call as a fail-safe, but generally, we should be able to do 100% of applications via EDE. It's just kind of some nuance around how you do it, how you answer specific questions, things like that. So if you do have trouble getting an application through, tap in agent support. They're here to help with that. So, and here's some definitions of some of the renewal factors. We'll have more on that in the Health Sherpa platform. Agent support, I think you all know how to get in touch with them. We've got a ton of agent resources on this training link. We're doing tons of trainings right now. What's new is a running list of product updates and feature releases. And then we also have our open enrollment agent hub that goes over not just getting certified, getting ready to sell, but also, how to plan for renewals. It's got tons of information and videos there taken from a lot of our public webinars and trainings.
Excellent. Ross, you are the man, as they say, my friend. You come with the knowledge and helping all of our agents and agencies out with these processes and flows is absolutely imperative to have a successful open enrollment. So together with everyone, I just want to thank all our speakers today, Ross included. We hope that they provided all of our agencies here with actionable information, things that you can use right away to go have yourself a great open enrollment. Now to the fun part. Whit, if you wouldn't mind bringing up back to our presentation. We have our speakers here, Ross Baker, of course, Kenny West, Mike Cardoso, William Merton, and David Steffen here with us. We're going to do a bit of roundtable. If you want to participate in the roundtable, please use the Q&A, submit your questions to us. If we can get them in, we will do so. But first up on the list, I'm going to start with Kenny West. So presenters, feel free to open your mics when called on. And then after the first speaker answers, feel free to unmute, chime in with your thoughts as well. If you have some, that's the whole point of a roundtable. We want most interaction here, and we want multiple answers to give different perspectives. But I'll direct these questions to a single individual to begin. So Kenny, if you could give agents just one piece of advice to maximize their open enrollment success this year, what would it be? I've got to have you unmuted, sir. Well, that's the way you start a roundtable. All right, let's move on to Mike Cardoso with the same question. Mike, if you can unmute your mic, if you could give agents just one piece of advice to maximize their open enrollment success this year, what would it be?
Yeah, so probably the best thing is going to be don't wait, right? So if you haven't already communicated with your members, letting them know that we actually need to talk this year instead of just letting it passively renew, reach out to them. That's the most important thing. Don't expect anything to passively renew. Take action and get started now. And if you do get anyone on the phone before open enrollment, go ahead and run through the entire eligibility notice portion of the app to at least get those questions out of the way now. That's probably the best thing we can focus on right now for this OE.
Get ahead of the game. Start doing it now. And really, we're behind the game right now, right? This is the absolute time we have to do this. Anybody else? Just one piece of advice to maximize open enrollment success for this year. All right, we're going to double up on Mike since we couldn't hear Kenny earlier. Cardoso again, what strategies do top performing agents use to retain clients at renewal while still upselling products?
So I guess it all boils down to the R's, right? You got to build rapport. You got to build, a relationship with them, sharing stories. If they have any issues, build the rapport. Rebuttal whatever the problem is, resolve the issue, and then get the referrals. So staying engaged, but most importantly, stories is going to be the biggest thing. Everyone has those 4 different personality profiles. If you run into someone that they care about that relationship and you're just in all facts and data and straight to business mode, you're going to lose them. Those people who are the more warm and bubbly and want the stories will happily share one with you. Everyone has a story about someone who got sick and needed to use their insurance. Share one of those stories that is close to you. Ask them to share one of their stories. And then when that conversation pops up, it's a super easy segue into critical illness, accident, life insurance, one of those things, or the reason why they have to pay for insurance this year, because we're getting back into sales mode. The years of being an order taker are gone.
Can you hear me now, Vince?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay. I had to exit and rejoin.
No worries, no worries. Did you have anything to add about strategies or advice to maximize enrollments this year?
Well, I would go along with the same thing Mike was saying, and that is you must be more now than ever before. You've got to be a student of the industry. It used to be not necessarily easy, but way easier than it is today. You got to pay attention to the details, especially if you're an agency owner. You need to be aware of what your agents are doing, not doing, and so on, because it can drastically, change your book of business and so on. The one thing I would like to leave y'all with to this question that Vince had for me anyway is my biggest mantra in sales is remember one simple thing that is hard for a lot of people to really digest. That the questions that customers ask you are nowhere near as important, if at all, frankly, than why they asked. So a consumer asks you, do you have Blue Cross? Do you have this? You need to ask them why they're asking that. Mm-hmm. Is it because they like Blue Cross or because they did not? Mm-hmm. So ask them why they're asking something so you have a better direction, and it'll make your calls shorter too.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Ross Baker, what common mistakes do you see agents making with ACA enrollments today, and how can we tell them how to avoid them in the future?
Sure. I love Kenny's point there. That's kind of Sandler 101 is, sure is answering a question with a question. I think, common mistakes. I would say there's a sales book called Slow Down and Sells Faster. And so I think to some extent, the summarization of the theme of that book is do the prep work ahead of time so that you are ready to go when it's go time. And what that means is, as soon as window shopping opens, and even now, know your market, know the products that are available, know the rankings, so that when somebody comes and asks you a question like, hey, do you have Anderson, whatever in Houston in network? Which carriers have that, or, mm-hmm. things along those lines. Do the homework so that when it's go time, you're ready and you're not wasting precious call time while you're on the phone.
Prepare as a professional, right? Take this job seriously, take this opportunity to be a licensed insurance agent seriously, do the prep work, and it will reduce the time on the phone. I love that. Anybody else have anything mistakes wise that agents may be making that they can avoid?
Yeah, this is William from O'Neill Marketing again. And I would say 100% the thing that we see all the time on our end is writing business when you're not appointed. That's just, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can do. It's a terrible feeling realizing that you just spent all that time to do something and you're not going to get paid. So I think this year, again, more important than ever, make sure you're appointed if you're the writing agent. And if you're using an NP and override, make sure that they're appointed too, just all up and down the board. Make sure you know where you're appointed, where you're not appointed. And if there's anything missing too, maybe you missed a transfer deadline or you can't get an AM better contract or something, just plan ahead and make some plans. If you get someone on the phone, they need this plan, you're not appointed, have a fallback option or have someone else you can connect them to so you get paid for every business you sell.
100% agree with that. Ross, go ahead and unmute. You guys can just unmute when you have something to say. No worries.
Yeah, I think just in addition to that, that's where, agency management can really be helpful, helping all the agents, even if it's like a little printout right on their desk that's like who you're appointed with, who you can write, or which NPN to use in which scenarios. That's going to go a long ways to, avoiding that big problem of writing business nobody's going to get paid on, and then B, being as efficient as possible while on the phone with the client.
And as a quick plug and to jump on to what Ross was just saying, if you go to aobgagents.com/ACA, the very second link on that page, the state availability chart, click and open that, then log into your O'Neill portal, check where your appointments are, and map it out so that at the time of sale, you don't have to waste any time looking it up. Super easy.
Awesome. Already prepared for you guys. Mike has done the legwork for you. It's in that portal. It has been for a long time, and we go through it with you as well. If you've ever been on the phone with Mike and I here at AOBG, I want to piggyback off that last question. So NPN override, right? So some states are just completely saying no. Some carriers are completely saying no, and it's really tough with the organization of what states, what carriers. How should agents really truly handle this? Should they even be thinking about doing NPN override, or should they just start making sure that their agents are licensed and appointed in each state and just do it across the board? Or should they be trying to organize and use NPN override in specific ways or specific states or what have you?
I would take that. So again, NPN override is really just a tool or feature that Health Sherpa invented, because prior to that, and this is going back, 6-7 years, Mike would have an agency and he would just have all his agents log into Mike Cardoso's account and pretend they're Mike Cardoso and write business that way. And it was really hard to keep a compliance paper trail and hold individual agents accountable. And Mike would take the heat as the agency owner if somebody wrote bad business, had a customer complaint, something along those lines. I will say in states where the State Department of Insurance has specifically come out and said, do not use NPN override, I would definitely say do not use NPN override. This is why Health Sherpa has disabled the functionality on our platform. And we're working with those states kind of behind the scenes to help explain the need for NPN override and why it's actually a compliance tracking tool to hold the individual agents more accountable. Versus just, what they see it as is a way to get around appointments. So in those specific states, definitely don't use NPN override. I would say when it comes to the carriers, those are carrier-specific business decisions. We are not shutting off NPN override for any specific carriers. And I've actually had a couple large distribution partners push back. And I've heard rumors that certain carriers are now saying it's only on new business, and if it's existing business that you're renewing, you can still use NPN override. And it's kind of a gray area, but ultimately at the end of the day, the carrier is the one that signs your paycheck. So I defer to the expertise of the AOBG team on that, as well as others.
Yeah, and I would jump in just to kind of piggyback off what Ross said. Definitely states don't use it. Carriers as well. That's tough because you might slide some through. But again, if a compliance case ever comes up and they see that you use an NPN override, which I should add, CMS has developed this thing called the SEED system. So it is possible to see who the writing agent is on the carrier side. And if they see that you're doing it when it was banned, that's going to be immediate trouble for you. So I would probably recommend checking on that. And if it's not locked down on Health Sherpa, just keep a very close eye on the agents. Because again, even if it slips by, the first time a compliance case comes up, if it comes to light that you use the NPN override, you're going to be in a tough situation. And I would recommend, even for the places that do use an NPN override, I would still make sure everyone's appointed. First and foremost, they forget to click that NPN override button, even if it's allowed. If they're not appointed, that's lost. If they are appointed, you'll still get commissions. It might just be under a different AOR, and you'll have to fix that later. But also a trend we've seen.
Yeah.
But I will say, too, a compliance trend we've seen from carriers, too, is making sure that everyone is appointed. It kind of varies. There's always a lot of variation, in responses when it comes to this, and things are moving quickly. But one trend that we have seen is if you have an AOR that is appointed and an unlicensed writing agent. If you're in the carrier's shoes and somebody's going to get dinged and the writing agent isn't appointed, they've got no choice but to ding the AOR. And if you're writing a lot of consolidated business under them, that's a huge loss. Whereas if the writing agent did something improper and used an NPN override, you'll have more of a case to maybe just have the writing agent dinged and save everything under the consolidated AOR too. So I'd still recommend get every appointment that you can. And even if you are using an NPN override, it's good to have that backup.
That's our recommendation to all of our agencies at AOBG. Every agent must be licensed in the state that they're discussing with that customer and be appointed with the programs, products that they're representing. So we can reverberate that as well, William. Also, you might want to call back in, William. Your connection is a bit rough. You may get a fresh connection from you, and we won't leave you out if you just kind of click off and call back in. That would be great. David, over to you real quick. Let's bring the ancillary products and market back into play here. What trends are you seeing in the ancillary market, and what should agents kind of be prepared for 2026 and beyond?
Good question, Vince. Kind of piggybacking on what William and Ross have said, and Michael as well. Increased scrutiny obviously brings delayed time in the amount of sales that you can get to in a day. So it's just, I think, of the utmost importance to be detailed and slow down. Make sure you're doing things the right way the first time, so there's not more increased scrutiny that needs to happen. And I think with that brings the opportunity to obviously you're going to be spending more time on the phone with the client, et cetera. So it gives you the opportunity to get to know your client better, develop that relationship that Mike talked about in his R's, develop that relationship, get referrals, et cetera. So just being able to spend the time with your client to be a trusted advisor. You're already going to be spending more time on the with them, whether it's on the phone or face to face. So just being as detailed as possible right on the front end, I think is beneficial in getting these ancillary products tied to an ACA plan.
Love it. Absolutely love it. We're talking a lot about slowing down, creating relationships with customers, which I absolutely agree with. Let's flip the script a little bit. I'm going to throw a different question out here, and anybody can jump in to start the answer session here. But there's other side to the story here. You have the agent on the phone, you've got the sales management team behind them, and there may be some pressure. Sales is a pressure-related environment, and you need to get things done quickly. You talk about CPAs and getting things done and making as many sales as you can. Plus, we have limited time during open enrollment. How do you balance creating these relationships with these customers on the phone while still trying to maintain a business program that makes sense for the agency? Don't leave me hanging here. Anybody can answer.
So I'll jump in on that one. I mean, when you're short on time, the easiest thing to keep in mind is at a bare minimum, you want to make sure the customer laughs at least 3 times on the call. Don't try and script the joke. Agents are all going to have different sense of humor, but simple things like asking someone in their 60s, how young are you, right? Anything that's just a little light chuckle lightens the mood, gets them ready. But most importantly, and this is a respect thing, never repeat questions if you already got the answer from the customer. You have to write down what they're telling you as they're telling you. So if it comes up again, you just already have the answer and you put it in. You don't want to ask a question because it's right in front of you and you didn't write it down. You can't go back and reference it. Make the best use of your time while you can.
Should we think about this as a long-term play? Maybe the relationship is built over months, not over minutes. Mike?
Absolutely, right? So as far as writing things down, in my CRM, I have notes for, who's their dog, what sports are they playing, if they mention that they're getting ready for a vacation or something, and whatever outreach tool you're having, or just straight up in your email. You can do schedule send in emails if you don't have schedule send text messages. Program a message to hit the member when they're getting ready for that soccer game 2 Saturdays from now. Hey, good luck at the game today. Those little light touches, right? And after you've made the sale, making sure you reach out to them at least 7 times a year, once every other month on their birthday, with not sales, just, hey, how you doing? Remember that we're here, and by the way, if you have any questions, let us know. That's the stuff that keeps you top of mind, that gets you the referrals, that if another agent does wind up on their phone, they'll say, no. I like Mike. Go away. I already have an agent. But if you never did those things, then anyone else can sneak in and take your business. So you got to stay involved.
Excellent. Appreciate that. Kenny, Mr. West, if you were training a brand new agent, what would be the first habit that you'd want them to build for long-term success?
Well, whenever I had my call center, one of the first things I did, before I even hired them, frankly, was I would gauge their response to a question if they had been in the business before. There's actually 2 questions. Why did you leave the last agency? Why do you want to come here? And what I was really looking for was, what was their reaction? Was it off the cuff? Was it honest? Was it them just saying what they thought I wanted to hear? Because with, the NPN override, for all practical means and purposes, is going away. You've got to make sure that agent is someone that you absolutely believe is going to be with you long term. The days of, going, man, I got to hire 5 more people. Yeah, okay, I'll give this guy a shot. And then next thing you know, he's gone bounce to another agency, then another agency, another agency. That's not going to work well for you, especially if their MPN is tied to stuff. But the one thing I really tried to issue as far as my office itself was, if it's not something that you would do to your mother, brother, aunt, uncle, or sister, then why would you do it to somebody that you're never going to meet in person? And tell the customers this. Give these agents a sense of pride. It's not about, okay, you're only supposed to be on the phone for 7 minutes, on to the next person. It takes time to do the process correct, and you will get repaid back with much higher persistency. So that's my 2 cents for what it's worth.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. William, back over to you real quick. How do you recommend agents handle tricky situations? And Ross may have something to say about this too, like clients providing inconsistent income or household information, or just not providing you with all of the honest information, and then you learn about that later.
Yeah, that's a great question. Before I jump in, is this connection a little bit better?
Much better. Yes, thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Just had to reset the headset over here. So with the tricky situations, definitely income and household stuff, probably going to be the top 2 that you see. Maybe as we move through the year, some immigration, but I'm going to focus mostly on the income and the household. So I would say first and foremost, of course, make sure that you understand how income is calculated and how the households are determined. If you don't know what it is and you're just kind of shooting off the cuff, or you're expecting that they'll just know, this is where you're really going to encounter tough times. Most of your clients maybe will know, especially if it's a simple thing, but you get someone who, has a household with split income, people not living with them, God forbid they're married, filing separately or something. That's where your knowledge is really going to have to come into play. And so assuming that you know everything and you can do all that, I say the biggest thing is just to clearly explain everything possible, when it comes to households, instead of, just who's in your household. Ask some of the questions that will draw out the answers. And if they're not understanding it, try to dig into something that will make sense to them. So, maybe something like, when you file your taxes, who's on it? Or I see that we have these many people. Are they on your taxes? And just kind of dig into it like that. And certainly, too, I always say avoid jargon as much as possible. I'll probably say that again. It's nice for us to use because it cuts to the chase, but when you're with a client, if you're talking about their modified adjusted gross income, no one knows what that means. So you got to really dig into it. And then through this year as well, probably moving forward, verification is going to be more important than ever. When it comes to DMIs, when it comes to everything else. So just make sure that if your client is saying something, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and just say, how will we verify that? How can we dig in? Because if they don't really know, you might run into issues down the road. And certainly, too, I would say this year, again, more than any other time, avoid vague guesses, or, maybe sometimes people will fudge the details a little bit in order to gain the outcome that they want. More and more as compliant kicks up and as CMS starts really digging into these things, it's going to end up hurting clients in the long run. If they fudge their income so that they can get CSRs or the subsidy, eventually their tax bill is going to come in, and that's really going to hurt them. So just make sure to stick to the chase. Everything they can do is verified. And as always, make sure you're getting that eligibility review documentation for every enrollment, because that way, if the consumer does say something that maybe doesn't end up being absolutely correct, you'll want to make sure you have that documentation attesting that the consumer told you that this is correct, and save yourself the hassle later.
And make sure you didn't ask any leading questions on that either, right? Kind of to piggyback on what he was saying, when you're asking the income questions and you're talking to the members, a quick little one-liner I'll always throw in there is, best guess, whatever you think is going to be accurate, and the IRS is going to check your math when you file your taxes, and you can always update us throughout the year if it changes. Just say that so they know, I can't just lie and make a number. The IRS is going to check my math. And that kind of snaps them back to reality of giving you honest answers.
Excellent. Thank you, William. Thank you, Mike. Ross, it looks like you unmuted.
Yeah, great points. The only thing I would add is just having fallen into the lead vendor funnel myself and listened to a lot of calls for fraud reasons. I'll be honest, lead generators that are getting people on the phone and then selling you all live transfers, I know for a fact some of them coach people on what to say their income is. So identifying that up front and saying, look, don't listen to that person. Give me your real income, because you're just going to have to pay this money back if you're not actually entitled to it, is going to save us all a lot of headache.
I love that. I think, let's be honest and truthful here, right, Ross? So that's absolutely great. Go ahead, William.
Oh, no, I was just going to, say, ditto with what Ross says. I've seen cases where carriers come and they have brought up, hey, you enrolled a bunch of people at exactly 100% FPL or exactly 133%. There's no way that this is correct. So again, people are really, really locking into it. A lot of things that maybe would have flown under the radar a few years back are getting pretty scrutinized now. So keep everything above board and make sure they can verify everything they're putting on that app.
And I will just add at a high level, from every single FMO that operates in the ACA space to Health Sherpa, other EDs, carriers, everyone in our industry is under a massive microscope when it comes to fraud and program integrity this year.
Right.
So, putting our best foot forward this year, making sure we're doing things by the book and doing right by the consumer is going to ensure that we have an industry to continue operating in for years to come.
No greater point than that at all. We've run really over time here, and so I want to thank all of our agents that have stayed on, and for them, so that we can maximize their value. I'm going to kind of open up the floor here. Kenny, Mike, Ross, David, William, is there anything that we haven't brought up today that you'd really like to tell these agents so that they leave today and go out to open enrollment and really attack it and really have some confidence that what they're doing is good for them, good for their agency, and good for their future as an insurance agent?
Well, I don't want to keep it going for another hour, so I'll pass on to somebody else.
So real short, we want to make sure that we're acting as the insurance professionals. When you pull up to your mechanic because your car is making noises, you don't expect to tell the mechanic what parts to fix. For that same reason, after you finish asking the customer other questions, finding out what they need, finding out their income, their doctors, their medications, all of that, you're not going to give them 5 plans and say, which one do you like best? You're going to give your clients one plan, 1, because it exudes confidence, 2, because it saves time. So stick to that. We don't want to do too much price selling when we're doing this.
We also want to avoid confusion.
Yes. And you don't want to skip the asking questions part and take it to an extreme and just get on the phone, don't ask them anything, and say, this is the best plan for you, and move on. Because, using another example, if you walked into your doctor's office, the doctor didn't ask you a single question and then scribbled on his script pad and said, swallow these 2 pills every day, and walks out of the room, you're not going to feel too comfortable taking those pills. Same thing as an insurance agent. You can't just tell a customer this is the best plan for you without first asking them about their doctors, their medications, how often they use the doctors, if they have any pending surgeries, if there are any networks that are important to them. So make sure you're including all of that in there as well. Or when you're doing your renewals, hey, how was your plan last year? Were there any challenges you had? Anything you wish you had? Ask those questions, and now you can speak from that point of confidence saying, yes, this is the best plan for you, and move on.
Absolutely. And my final parting note would be kind of just to piggyback off what Mike said here actually a few times, which is getting to know your customers and making sure they know you. Because with conversations with CMS and carriers, one of the biggest things that we've kind of seen is the way that they want the industry to trend is away from the large call center model and more towards the personable relationship with their clients. Obviously, if we want to sell on scale, there's going to have to be some budging there. But, the biggest thing that we've seen is they want the clients to know, this is my agent, this is my go-to person, instead of just kind of a nameless, faceless person that gets on the phone, sells them something, and moves on. It'll certainly help with retention, because if they start getting calls with someone else, hopefully they're less inclined to just answer anything that seems like a good deal for them, because they know that you're the person there. But frankly, also from the compliance side too, we've seen a lot of complaints that end up frankly being a little bit baseless that just come through because, simply put, you use an NPN override, the AOR on that application, they have no idea who that is. So they call in and they say, oh yeah, your agent of record is so-and-so. They have no idea who that is because they talked with someone else. So making sure that they know who you are. If you're using an NPN override, they know that, hey, you might see John Smith as your agent of record, but my name's William. Here is my number. If you need anything at all, please call me. If you have agents coming and going, communicate with their clients that, hey, this is going to be your new representative, and just trying to build in that relationship as much as possible. It'll help the clients know what's going on. It'll help with retention, and it'll hopefully help keep some compliance cases from coming up just because they have no idea who you are.
Absolutely. Kenny?
Yeah, I can comment on that one real quick, since every single complaint that comes through goes through my email box. And I'm going to say that 85+% are customer says enrolled without consent. When the customer sees the name of the NPN override person on there, they don't recognize them. The agency then sends the information showing, no, it was done. It was this other agent who is appointed, who is licensed. That customer recognizes their name. They don't recognize the NPN override name. And so this will also reduce the number of complaints that you have to respond to. It's the mass majority of them. That's what it's due to.
Right.
The only other thing to say is you're going to get complaints if you do any volume of business. It's just the nature of business. respond to them ASAP. And I can tell you, one of the biggest complaints or comments I hear directly from carriers is that it's coming from an email that's info@myinsuranceagency.com. There's no person associated to it. Put a signature at the bottom of every email you send out, because if you're not proud enough to have your name on it, then, gotta question some other things. you know um, be forthcoming with them. Don't be evasive, and be prompt. We have seen the biggest problems not be from actual fraud or doing things right. It's from agents not responding, or agencies to complaints from carriers by the deadline that the carrier gives. So may have been no big deal, but nobody responded.
Huge, absolutely huge. And we know that makes a giant impact at the carrier level. We need to respond quickly. We need to be organized as well. Anything else that you guys want to add? Otherwise, we will start closing up shop here. David, Ross, William, Mike, Kenny, anything? Any last words?
Go Rocket.
Have fun.
Yeah,
Have
good
fun
luck.
with them.
Good
Let
luck
them
on
have
open
fun. They're
enrollment.
going to remember you. That's it.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, listen, thank you again to all of our speakers today. Thank you for all of our agents who joined us today. I hope you got a ton of value out of this. We plan on continuing to serve you in this same way. Please, if you have questions, comments, complaints, anything of the above, send them to us here at Agent Services, agents@aobgrp.com. You can always reach out to myself, of course, directly if you have my contact information, which most of you should. Mike Cardoso is almost always available as well. And all of our team here is really responsive to your needs. So if you need anything done, please let us know. We can't read minds, and we'd love to help and serve. Other than that, have a great open enrollment, everyone. Thank you for your time today, and have a great and blessed day.